Jose Canseco and the Oakland A's have come to Fenway. They're the world champions of baseball, but they're being challenged by the Red Sox, who have won 10 in a row. Coming up next. You're looking at historic Fenway Park in Boston, where tonight the Oakland Athletics, the champions of the baseball world, meet the Boston Red Sox, each team in first place in its division in the American League. Hello, everyone. They're hoping for some baseball come October. I'm John Miller along with Joe Morgan. And Joe, most people think they're going to get it here in Boston with a rematch of these two ball clubs in October. The series would start in Boston. Is there relevance to that right now for these two ball clubs? What they do here the next 3 days, does that have any bearing come October?
Well, I think it does for the Boston Red Sox more than the Oakland A's, because in 1988, the Red Sox beat up on Oakland here during the regular season. Come playoff time, the Oakland A's won the 2 ball games here and swept them in the playoffs overall. So I think it's important for the Boston Red Sox. They're 5-4. Oakland has won 5, and the Red Sox have won 4 so far this season. So I think it is important for the Red Sox to continue to win here. The Red Sox have won 7 out of 9 here in Boston. But again, once the playoffs start, I don't think it'll hurt the Oakland A's.
Willie McGee makes his first ever Fenway appearance. Harold Baines is here with the ball club. The Red Sox have won 10 in a row. We've got a collision here, the top 2 teams in the American League. Now let's go back to John Saunders at Baseball Tonight.
Okay, thanks a lot, John and Joe. The Oakland A's and the Boston Red Sox. We'll get back to Fenway in just a moment. But first, the team chasing the Boston Red Sox, the Blue Jays, had put together a little bit of a streak of their own. They had won 4 games in a row as they went into Detroit to face the Tigers. Jimmy Key, though, to Cecil Fielder, and this one is gone. His 43rd home run of the year. He now has 112 runs batted in, leads the majors in both categories. The Tigers cruise and end the Blue Jays' 4-game winning streak. So the Jays will open the night 7 games now behind the Boston Red Sox. Alan Trammell also had a 2-run home run in that game. In the National League East, the race is, of course, between the Mets and the Pirates. The Mets a winner for their 7th straight game. Dwight Gooden, his 12th victory in his last 13 decisions. Mick Reynolds had an RBI double in the game, also his 20th home run of the year, driving in 4 runs. But the Pirates kept pace. They'll remain a half game back. Bobby Bonilla with an RBI single. Drabek wins number 18. The Pirates stay a half back, and you can see the Pirates and the Mets here on ESPN tomorrow night, rather Wednesday night at 7:30. It will be game 2 of a doubleheader. If game 1 is still underway, we'll have bonus coverage, and the game will be seen in Pittsburgh. Meantime, in the National League West, the Reds and the Braves. The Reds had a 5-1 lead in this game for Tom Browning, and they blow that lead, losing it 8-6, and their lead over the Dodgers is now just at 6 games. Jeff Blauser with a 2-run triple in this game, and Jim Vatcher breaking the game open, a 6-6 tie with an RBI single. We will have a second half of our doubleheader here tonight at 10:30 Eastern Time. The San Francisco Giants and the San Diego Padres. Kelly Downs facing Calvin Schiraldi, both teams, for all intents and purposes, out of the race. But next, it's the A's and the Red Sox as the Red Sox try and make it 11 consecutive games. And the A's with a preview of the ALCS. We'll be here all night.
ESPN Baseball Tonight, brought to you by Mitsubishi, bringing you a full line of award-winning automobiles. See them all at your Mitsubishi Motors dealer. By Levi's, 505 and 506 jeans. By Cooper Tools, manufacturer of the new Lufkin Series 2000, the most advanced measuring tape on the market. And by Michelob Dry Beer. Once you experience the bold taste with no aftertaste, there's no going back.
John Miller and Joe Morgan back at Fenway Park. It's September. The wind is blowing in, and it's cool. Now, the Sears diehard starting lineup for the world champion Oakland Athletics. It'll be Ricky Henderson leading off in left field. Willie McGee, a newcomer, first time at Fenway, in center field. Jose Canseco in right field, batting third. Another newcomer, Harold Baines, no stranger to Fenway, though, the designated hitter. It will be Carney Lansford, one-time member of the Red Sox, at third base. Mark McGuire is at first base, batting 6th. Terry Steinbach is the catcher. Willie Randolph at second base, batting 8th. And Mike Gallego is at shortstop, batting 9th.
And the defense for Boston, Tom Brunansky in right, Ellis Burks in center, Mike Greenwell is in left, Wade Boggs at third, Luis Rivera is the shortstop, Jody Reed at second, Carlos Quintana will be at first base, Tony Pena does the catching, and on the mound, Dana Kicker, right-hander.
And Kicker, one of the surprises in this ball club. Last night on Sunday Night Baseball, we saw Tom Bolton, a career minor leaguer who's won 8 ball games. And this fella, while not with such a gaudy record, nonetheless, has been no less important in the whole scheme of things. Kicker, a sinker baller out of a little town called Sleepy Eye, Minnesota. And he has pitched extremely well. Joe, what was it, just 9 days ago in a key ball game at the Sky Dome in Toronto. Second game of the 4-game series, the Red Sox had lost the first game, and Kicker took them out, and with a little help from the bullpen, pitched a shutout.
Well, I talked to his pitching coach, Bill Fisher, today. Said he's a sinker slider ball pitcher to right-handers. To the left-handers, he'll throw a change-up every once in a while, and he throws an overhand curveball. So he uses 4 pitches, basically, change-up, slider, curveball, and his fastball.
Now, earlier today, the Detroit Tigers gave the Red Sox a little bit of help. Detroit defeating Toronto 5-0. Walt Terrell back at Tiger Stadium, where he almost never loses, and he pitched a shutout today. Cecil Fielder hit his 43rd home run. If Boston can beat Oakland tonight, they will be 7.5 up. That will look pretty commanding, if it doesn't already look commanding. The wind is blowing in. And Joe, sure enough, last night it was warm, it was muggy, the wind was blowing out. Hey, the Labor Day weekend's over. Everybody's left the Cape. They turned off the heat, and we're headed into the autumn now. The wind is blowing in.
Well, I tell you what, the wind blowing in will affect some of the balls, but when some of the big guys hit them here in Boston, it will not have that much effect. I think if Canseco or McGuire or some of the big guys hit one toward the monster in left field, the wind will have no effect whatsoever.
Rickey Henderson will lead it off for the Athletics. Rickey, an MVP candidate, and also a chance to win the American League Batting Championship. He leads the league in hitting. Strike one. We're underway. On deck, Willie McGee, seeing Fenway Park for the first time ever. He has a chance to win the National League Batting Championship. There's Willie. This year, which could put Oakland in a position of having the 2 batting champions at the same time the year they won the batting championships, which would be, it'd be a quirk, but it would be history. And it'll be interesting to see what happens over there, because McGee's statistics are frozen in the National League. 1 ball, 1 strike to Rickey Henderson. Rickey's been hobbled a little bit the last few weeks. He takes the ball outside, 2-1. He strained his left hamstring initially back in July, put him on the shelf for a while, and then he aggravated that injury in early August against Baltimore. And he hadn't really been at 100% efficiency since. Base hit. So Rickey Henderson, as he so often does in the first inning, gets Oakland started.
Well, Rickey Henderson gets on base either by hit or a walk 40% of the time. He has that high leg kick, but he keeps the bat back. Then he generates a lot of bat speed with his lower part of his body, with his legs, with his hips. He turns very quickly, has real strong legs, as you can see, and that helps him with his bat speed.
Now Willie McGee comes to bat for the first time ever at Fenway Park. McGee, when he comes back to play for Oakland, is coming back to play for, in effect, his hometown team. He's from the Oakland area. And he takes his strikes as Tim McClelland. 1 strike the count. McGee, a switch hitter, he was hitting .335 over the National League.
I think the thing that's misleading about Willie McGee is a lot of people forget that this guy can drive in runs. He had 62 RBIs in the National League before he was traded here. He is an RBI man as well.
62 RBIs and only 3 home runs. So you've got to hit well in the clutch if you don't hit home runs to drive in that many runs. McGee is 1 for 12 in the American League, and he takes the ball outside.
A lot of guys, it takes them a little while to adjust, you know, to the American League pitching or National League, whichever league you leave to go to the other one. But with Willie McGee, I don't think it'll take him a long time to adjust because he's really a swinger and not a thinker. Willie McGee kind of swings at what he sees. He doesn't set the pitcher up. He doesn't outthink himself. He just hits what he sees.
Ball 2, 2-1. Tony Pena doing the catching. Now, the last time the kicker pitched in this ballpark was 2 weeks ago tomorrow against Baltimore, and he did not even get anybody out in the first inning, his worst outing of the year. But it kind of set things up for the Red Sox. A few days later, he came back on short rest to pitch that game in Toronto, giving both Clemens and Greg Harris an extra day of rest. And not only did Kicker pitch the shutout, but then Clemens pitched one, and so did Harris. But Kicker was, in a way, kind of the key to all of that. 2-1 to Willie McGee. And is fouled. 2-2 the count.
I think the toughest adjustment that Willie McGee will have to make if he continues to hit second is to hit behind a base stealer like Ricky Henderson. He did that a while with Vince Coleman, but then he was moved to third. Ozzie Smith hit second a lot of times, so he's got to readjust his thinking to hitting behind a base stealer.
2-2 to Willie McGee. Ricky Henderson at first base. Quintana is playing him on the bag. And that is foul into the third base grandstand. Still 2-2 to McGee. Canseco on deck. Well, whether or not McGee hits second or fifth or sixth or wherever, that'll be up to Tony La Russa. He says that before it gets to be October, he's going to try McGee and Baines in all kinds of different spots just to see if he can get a feel for how the lineup seems to function best. And with this lineup, it seems like almost he can hardly go wrong. Just put him out there somewhere.
Well, when you have as good a starting group of players as he has, I think you're just about right. Just throw him out there and shuffle the deck.
There goes Ricky. A little tap, and Kicker can't get it. And there's one reason why Willie McGee is among the National League's leading hitters. He can really move. He just put the ball in play for a base hit.
Well, what happened there was Jody Reed was covering second base because Willie McGee has hit so many foul balls in this at bat down the left field line. So he felt like if he put it in play, he would put it in play to the left side. And with Jody Reed breaking towards second, he had no chance to get back and throw Willie McGee out.
Now here is Jose Canseco. His average has been falling. His back is hurting. He's got a bulging disc in his lower back. In his last 84 at-bats, he has only one home run and is hitting 190 in that time. And that is strike one. We were talking about, Joe, the Oakland power hitters, and certainly Canseco, McGuire. These guys can hit a home run anywhere, in any weather. But Canseco, looking at the flag blowing in during batting practice, he says, I don't think anybody's going to go out of here tonight. Is that symptomatic, you think, of his back problems and the slump he's in? That doesn't sound like Jose Canseco.
Well, it doesn't sound like him.
A lot of speed on the base paths. And there they go. Pena cannot handle it. Ricky comes around third, but now Pena will keep him there. McGee over to second.
Well, as a breaking ball low and away, Pena tries to get over in front of it, but the ball bounces away. So it's a slider in the dirt. There's not a lot that he could do. He couldn't get his body over in time. And Ricky Henderson came flying around third base, thinking maybe he would be able to score, but see Kicker go to cover the plate. And they move up one base. And of course, that's a wild pitch. 90% of the time, if the ball bounces in front of the plate, it's called a wild pitch.
So the Athletics in a familiar position. Ricky Henderson getting something started in the very first inning, and the big RBI men with a chance to get some immediate RBIs. Cecil Fielder hit his 43rd home run today for the Detroit Tigers. He's now got 112 RBIs. Fielder is ahead of Canseco, who has 89. See Joe Morgan looking a bit worried. And again, Kicker misses badly. Ball 2, 2-1. Canseco's only home run in those last 84 at-bats was in Detroit 9 days ago. Booming shot to the deepest part of that historic ballpark.
This is the time that Harold Baines' influence will come into play. They have a base open, but you have Harold Baines on deck. We'll find out how much respect they have for Harold Baines and how they pitch Canseco.
2-2 to Canseco. Kicker fooled him with the off-speed delivery. The breaking ball. Before the game, it was like a postseason atmosphere. So many members of the media here. The crowd was arriving early. They were hollering all through batting practice. It's the kind of atmosphere you expect in October. The 2-2 pitch. Pena was able to keep that one in front of him. Kicker's been real wild with each of those last 3 sliders out there.
Well, what he's trying to do is make sure he doesn't hang one to Canseco because that wind will not hold it up. So he gets this slider low and away, and you see Pena gets his glove over just in time to keep it from going by him again. And as long as he can keep him in front of him, keep the ball in front of him, no one can advance.
It's a pretty good save there by Pena.
It doesn't matter that the wind's blowing in, John. I know Canseco said he didn't think they could get it out of here. Kicker knows he can, and he knows if he hangs one in the middle of the plate, it will go over the fence.
Kicker is not buying that. 3-2 pitch. He struck him out. And Fenway Park loves it.
Well, Kicker finally makes a good pitch with the slider. He was trying to get it low and away, and he starts this one over the plate, and it breaks down and away. Nice pitch. Canseco swings over the top of it. See, he's right on that, but the ball disappears. The break of the ball fooled him. See, he's right there to the ball. The speed of the ball didn't fool him. It was the break that fooled him.
Now Harold Baines. He hit a home run yesterday. And he takes ball 1. Baines hitting .285, 14 homers, with only 45 runs batted in. He was not productive at all with the Texas Rangers as an RBI man, although for years in Chicago he was. And he takes a strike. A ball and a strike. Baines 2 for 12 with his new ball club. You see there, and most of those years, 83 through 87, under manager Tony La Russa. Well, he was a top RBI man. 1-1. Ball 2.
I think he's in a perfect situation now to hit between both McGuire and Canseco, and behind Ricky Henderson and Willie McGee, but he will have to produce a little better if he's to add anything to the Oakland A's ball club.
Foul ball. Well, he'll certainly get the opportunities. He'll get opportunities like this almost every night. If Canseco hasn't already cleaned off the bases, which can also happen. 2-2. There is Ricky Henderson, who led off the inning with a single. He's at third base. And Willie McGee, who had an infield single, is at second base. Dana Kicker is reaching an early crossroads here. Boston trying to keep this Oakland club off the board early. Kicker has all the trouble he can handle. Popped him up, and Boggs has room for the catch. So he's gotten 2 big hitters with Ricky Henderson standing at third base. And now Lansford will come up.
Well, Kicker throws a slider in on Baines' hands, and he drives it down the left field line. He pops it up. Boggs makes a good play. And I think because Henderson does have a little problem with his hamstring, he didn't tag up and make a bluff.
Ricky, in fact, I saw him, I believe back in May, tag up at third base on a pop fly to Cal Ripken out in shallow left center and score. Right. He did that twice.
He can do that, but in this case he didn't, I think, because of his leg.
That's a ball inside. 2 men in scoring position. If Kicker can get Lansford this great Oakland opportunity, will have gone unrealized. Carney Lansford, a former member of the Red Sox. That's a ball in 1981, in fact. Carney won an American League batting championship playing for the Red Sox the year of the strike. again, but there was a rookie on that team named Wade Boggs who hit .349. And they traded Carney. Ball 3. Now McGuire is on deck. There he is, 33 home runs. These two clubs met in Oakland about 3 weeks ago. The last pitch thrown in that series was hit for a grand slam by Mark McGuire in the 10th inning. There's a strike. 3-1. Tomorrow night, Joe, Dave Stewart and Roger Clemens will be center stage. That game will be seen right here on ESPN at 7:30. He walked him and he almost hit him. And so, just as they were the last time he faced Oakland, the bases are loaded for Mark McGuire. Joe Morgan is a little wary right now about where this first inning is going with his rookie out there.
Well, Mark McGuire is a low ball hitter. Kicker is a low ball pitcher because he tries to keep the sinker down, and he tries to keep the breaking ball down. So this is a power against power kind of situation. Your best pitches against his best swing. So we'll see what happens here.
McGuire with 33 home runs, 87 batted in. The bases are loaded. The breaking ball for a called strike.
And you can see that pitch was down right on the knees. And that's really where McGuire likes the ball.
McGuire has a base hit. Ricky Henderson scores, and here comes McGee. The ball goes past Greenwell. They'll both score, and Lansford takes third. McGuire holding it first, but a two-run single with 2 down. And the Athletics have gotten those 2 men home. Kicker almost got through it, but not quite.
Well, the toughest point is that he has to go to Mark McGuire's strength, and that's keeping the ball down. And he shoots it through the hole into left field. You can see a nice attempt by Rivera, but it wouldn't really have mattered. Even though Greenwell bobbled the ball out there, McGee was still going to score. So the 2 runners were going to score anyway.
And an error to Greenwell for allowing Lansford to go to third. 2 RBIs for McGuire. Here is Steinbach. Now Steinbach is one of the reasons that Kicker is here. They grew up about 13 miles from one another in Minnesota. Steinbach in New Ulm and Kicker in Fairfax, although he was born in Sleepy Eye. But they worked out all this winter. Deep and foul. But last year, Kicker was playing at Pawtucket. He'd been in the minor leagues for years and years. Their club was 5-25. Kicker said, hey, I'm the 10th man on the worst ball club in baseball. Maybe I shouldn't be playing. But Steinbach worked out with him, and he said, hey, you've got good stuff. You could be in the big leagues. I've been there. But he drilled him. He says, you throw 3 sliders, one of them's good. That's why you get hit. You've got to concentrate. You've got to be consistent with it. Like right there. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And he could see, as you see Dennis Lamp up in the bullpen, he could see Kicker make progress through the winter. Kicker would throw batting practice to him. He'd throw to Steinbach. Steinbach would warm him up, work on his catching skills. He worked him on a first strike drill. Kicker, if he ends up ever making big money in this game, may have to send a portion of that to Terry Steinbach.
I doubt that.
He always trying to get Steinbach out. And if he doesn't get him out, he may be out of this game shortly. Lamp is up in the bullpen. 2 men on. There's Lansford at third base. And there is McGuire over at first base. Steinbach, the 7th place hitter in the order. He's hitting .241, 7 home runs. Two runs in for Oakland. Boston's 10-game winning streak on the line. 2-2. Joe, I guess that is the difference between a The guy who can win here in the big leagues, in the show. You got to be consistent.
Well, I think most of the pitchers who are successful here are consistent. They can consistently throw a certain pitch to a certain zone, and they can always pitch to a hitter's weakness.
Well, kicker should know where that is with Steinbach after pitching so much BP to him all winter. Off the foot. 2-2.
Well, the problem is kicker is a sinker ball pitcher. Sinker slider, and that's basically what he has to go with. And that's why he should have a lot of problems with Mark McGwire all evening, because he's going to have to go downstairs, and when he goes down there, that's to Mark McGwire's best hitting zone. Now, certain pitchers are equipped to be able to come up with the fastball. They can give McGwire trouble and then get him to chase the breaking ball.
Well, McGwire has already given him plenty of trouble with a 2-run single. Now Steinbach is trying to make life miserable for him. And it's down the left field line. A foul ball. You saw it disappear down there. The third base umpire, Durwood Merrill, calling it foul.
Well, it's hard to keep a ball fair down the left field line. If it's hooking at all, it's going to go foul. And because the stands are so close, a lot of times it hits off the fence right there. That's about 2 feet foul. It's a lot closer than I thought it was.
See that doorway down there? Sometimes balls will get stuck in there and go rattling around. We have to rely on the umpire from where we're sitting. We cannot see that area, except with those ESPN cameras strategically placed. 2-2 the count to Steinbach. He really ripped that one. It was down there just like that. Kicker trying to do some damage control here. 2 runs already in, but 2 men on with 2 men out. And it's a full count now to Steinbach. On deck, the veteran Willie Randolph. Well, kicker pitched well on the road a couple of times. We told you about that shutout he had in Toronto. And then he pitched 7 shutout innings in Cleveland. He has not allowed a run since last he pitched here. And when he pitched here last, he did not get out of the first inning. Got the first inning blues again tonight. There goes McGwire. That one is hit high and deep into left field. It has a chance. And gone, a long home run to the top of the net. 5-0 Oakland. And here comes Joe Morgan. Steinbach may have been the difference in getting kicker to remain in pro ball and getting him to the big leagues. But now he has knocked him right out of this ball game. Lamp is coming in.
Well, what happens here is he hangs the slider in the middle of the plate, and he had shook Pena off so many times to get to the slider. I'm sure Steinbach knew that a slider was coming, and he drilled it up on the screen. And again, I told you that wind will not matter if the guys hit the ball well, because it's such a short distance that the ball will go out.
I think Canseco just set me up in case I talk to kicker. 5-0 Oakland. We'll be back. John Miller and Joe Morgan back at Fenway Park, and all of a sudden the luster has come off that 10-game winning streak for the Red Sox. The Oakland A's, the world champions, are in town, and Joe, all of a sudden life looks a whole lot different with Oakland here for the Red Sox and their fans.
Well, the one thing about it is you know, we're still in the first inning, so Boston has 27 outs that they can use to get those 5 runs back, and they're capable of scoring a lot of runs themselves.
That's right. This is Fenway Park after all.
Steinbach was having problems with his left knee. I saw him putting some ice on it or something when he went into the dugout after hitting the home run. So I don't know exactly what the problem was, but they took him up in the clubhouse a second ago.
It's Barry Weinberg, the veteran trainer of the Athletics, heading back up there with him. Here's Willie Randolph against Dennis Lamp. I think Lamp, he's been around so long, Joe, that I think he was pitching when you first broke in.
Yes, he was pitching. He's been around a long time. I've faced Dennis Lamp on several occasions. Good sinker ball pitcher, and he throws a changeup.
And that's a ball. He has been getting knocked around in the last couple of weeks, and he has not been used very often. 5-0 Oakland ahead. Willie Randolph. Boggs throws him out. Nice play by Boggs. He's been flawless over there the last couple of nights. But Oakland gets 5 before the Red Sox ever bat. Red Sox are coming up. Tomorrow night in Boston, it will be Clemens and Stewart, the classic matchup. And tomorrow, that moon will be completely full. Nearly full tonight. Now the Sears diehard. Boston Red Sox starting lineup. It'll be Jody Reed leading it off at second base. Carlos Quintana at first base. Wade Boggs needs 39 hits to make it 200 again. Ellis Burks red hot in center field. Mike Greenwell just about as hot in left field, batting 5th. Tom Brunansky in right field. Mike Marshall, a longtime National League, the designated hitter. Tony Pena also over from the National League, the catcher. And Luis Rivera is at shortstop.
And the Oakland A's will have Jose Canseco in right. Willie McGee is in center. Ricky Henderson is in left. Carney Lansford at third. Mike Gallego is the shortstop. Willie Randolph at second base. Mark McGuire at first. Jamie Quirk takes over for Steinbach behind the plate. And on the mound is Scott Sanderson, right-hander.
Scott Sanderson, he was picked up at bargain prices during the winter to replace Storm Davis in that rotation. I think pitchers should pay to play for this Oakland ball club, Joe.
Well, I think Scott Sanderson has benefited a lot more than just from the ball club. I think he's benefited from being around Duncan, because he also has picked up the forkball, which has been a very important pitch for all the pitchers on the Oakland A's staff. And Scott Sanderson, like Bob Welch, coming over from the National League, have learned to throw the forkball with the Oakland A's and have used it very successfully.
Jamie Quirk, veteran left-handed hitter, now the catcher. And Joe, we understand Terry Steinbach is suffering from a bruised left knee, and I'm trying to remember, did he hit a foul ball or something? Maybe it was something he already had, we don't know, but that's the reason he's out of there.
Well, he fouled one ball off the left side of his leg, and that may have been the one that hurt him.
Well, here is Jody Reed, batting .306. Leads the league in doubles with 42. Sanderson misses, ball 1. Steinbach, I mean, that wind's blowing in, but he almost sent that ball out onto Lansdowne Street, which is the litmus test for how hard did the guy really hit one. You hit one over that net and onto Lansdowne Street, that's a shot. A ball and a strike to Jody Reed. The last night we saw these Red Sox. These guys also get on base a lot at the top of that order. Reed, Quintana, Boggs. Foul tip. Red Sox have been red hot with that 10-game winning streak. The first 3 of those victories were all shutouts in Toronto when they scored only 4 runs total, but won each game with a shutout. But since then, they have been hitting like crazy. They've averaged 9 runs a game in the last 7. They may need that many tonight if they're going to stay with Oakland. Down 5-0 already. 2-2 the count to Jody Reed. Ball 3. Full count, 3-2. You know, Steinbach, by the way, had never had a hit against kicker. That's the first time he's got a hit against him.
Scott Sanderson had a long inning where he was just sitting there in the dugout. So it may take him a little while to get loose again here. He may have just, you know, had to sit in the dugout too long to walk out on the field and be comfortable right away.
Full count to Jody Reed. The 3-2 pitch. That's down the left field line, but foul. And up onto the rooftop of the auxiliary scoreboard down there. Jody Reed, he has been a key performer for the Red Sox. He's become an excellent second baseman, but he can also play shortstop. He's a good bunter, hits behind runners, gets a lot of extra base hits, and he gets some walks. Ball 4, he takes one there. You know, the last time that Oakland came to Fenway Park, The Athletics blew a lead in the 9th inning. La Russa did not want to use Eckersley that night. He felt Eckersley needed a night off. And Mike Norris was with the ball club then, and then Gene Nelson. And Boston got 3 in the bottom of the 9th to come back for a win, 7-6. Boston also won here 12-3 the last time Oakland was in. The only Oakland victory this year was 1-0 Stewart over Clemens. Ball 1-2 Quintana. Carlos Quintana, great big hulking figure, but he has not been able to find the nets in left field very often. Quintana with just the 7 home runs, hitting .296. Up the middle, base hit into center field. Jody Reed will go to second and hold. The ball fielded by Willie McGee. The Red Sox and the Athletics are playing run and shoot here in the first inning.
Now batting Wade Boggs.
Wade Boggs coming up, hitting .311. 5 homers, 52 batted in. 29 games left in the schedule. Boggs needs 39 hits to reach 200 again. And if he can do it, that will be 8 consecutive years. Nobody in this century or in any century has done it for 8 straight years. Oakland ahead 5-0, but the table is set for the Red Sox. Burks on deck. Ball 1. A's strike call to the inside. Boggs questions that call by Tim McClelland.
I think Wade Boggs wanted to know if he called it on the swing or on the pitch. And when he said on the pitch, Wade kind of let out a lot of air. I don't think he believed it.
And that's strike 2. The off-speed delivery.
Sanderson has a big breaking curveball, and there's no way the first time you see it in a ball game you can swing at it. And that was the first time Boggs has seen it tonight. And it drops right off the table because it's so slow.
1-2. The split finger knocked down by Quirk. The runners will hold.
Well, the Oakland A's use the forkball. A lot of teams call it the split-fingered fastball, but it hits the top of Quirk's glove and just bounces away. No advancing by the runners.
2-2 to Wade Boggs. Sanderson with a 5-run lead, but he's into immediate trouble. The 2-2 pitch. Toward the wall in left center, but playable for Henderson. The runners will return. And there is 1 away. Reed back to second. Quintana back to first. Ellis Burks, he's about as hot as a man can get right now. 79 RBIs. Burks 15 for his last 28, including 5 homers and 14 batted in. That's in 8 games.
Well, he's really been swinging the bat well, but I think the real key has been his pitch selection. He's been getting a good pitch to hit.
There's that slow one, and it is ball 1. Ellis Burks. The last 2 games, Burks and Greenwell, the 2 of them, have driven in 16 runs. It is slow curveball, and that's low. Well, Burks has seen that breaking ball now, and he's being very selective here.
But he's also ahead in the count, 2-0, so he can look for a fastball in a certain zone. Not only just look for the speed of the pitch, but you look for it in a certain zone.
2 on, 1 out. 2-0 the count. Sanderson throws him a fastball for a strike.
It's a good pitch by Sanderson. He got it over the outside part of the plate. And Burks may have been looking for one over the inside part of the plate or the middle of the plate. When you're ahead in the count, you actually narrow the plate down. So you look middle in or middle out. You look wherever you think you can hit the ball best.
Time taken by Burks. He's the Red Sox home run and RBI leader. Could be 2. Randolph to first. Double. No, he's safe. He beat it. I thought Denkinger was about to ring him up, and then he spread the palms flat. Started to raise that right fist for just a split second.
It was a nice attempt by Gallego and Randolph. Gallego charged the ball, which gave them a chance for the double play. Watch, he charges the ball right here. Gets it on the short hop. Quick flip to Willie Randolph. He gets rid of it very quickly, but Burks runs well, and he beats it out before the ball relay gets to first base. You can see he is safe.
It's only correct call by Don Denkinger, senior umpire in the American League. And on that slow curve, Greenwell does swing at it, but he wishes he hadn't. Strike 1. Greenwell now has lifted his average to 291. 10 home runs, 60 batted in. He drove in 4 runs last night and 5 the day before. 9 RBIs in 2 games for Greenwell. And you see the last 43 games, 6 or 7 weeks, he's been red hot. 2 on, 2 out. And he's through there, base hit. Coming in to score is Reed. Going to third is Burks. And another RBI from Mike Greenwell, finding the hole. 5-1 Oakland.
One of the things that they do differently now than, say, 5 or 10 years ago is with a runner on first and third and the first baseman holding the runner on, they do not like to throw a lot of changeups. They didn't before. Now they throw a lot of off-speed pitches and they pull the ball in the hole. That's all that was. It wasn't hit hard. It wasn't hit anything. But that first baseman holding the runner at first base cuts down on his range.
Now here's Brunansky. 2 on, 2 out. Fastball missing. By the way, Mike Greenwell in his last 8 times at the plate has 7 hits and 9 runs batted in 8 at-bats. The curve is outside. Brunansky should be very familiar with Sanderson from his National League days. And perhaps, as you see, they're all too familiar. He's not done well against Sanderson.
That surprises me. He's only faced him 12 times, though. That's basically 3 ball games.
Fastball missing. So it is 3-0 to Bruno. On deck, another former National Leaguer, Mike Marshall and Tony La Russa, say, hey, we got 5 runs on the board. What's happening here? Dave Duncan right alongside his pitching coach, former big league catcher. Burks at third, Greenwell at first, ready to go in anything. The 3-0 pitch. Swung away at it and popped it up. Swung at a bad ball, too, and Landstrom will take it. So Bruno given the go-ahead on 3-0, and he swung at what looked like ball 4. 1 run only. The ESPN Baseball Tonight Pennant Chase continues on Tuesday night, beginning at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, as the world champion Oakland A's with the Big Sluggers, Jose Canseco and Mark McGwire. They'll be taking on the red-hot Boston Red Sox and Roger Clemens. Clemens matched up with Dave Stewart, the classic matchup, perhaps a preview. of October. Followed at 10:30 by the Giants and Kevin Mitchell meeting the Padres and Tony Gwynn. Hey, the A's and Red Sox, I'd like to see those guys play at Fenway Park. Mike Gallego leads it off against Dennis Lamp. Hey, ESPN made our wishes come true. Here we are. The A's and the Red Sox. Dennis Lamp facing the 9th place Oakland hitter, Gallego, hitting .209 for the year. And then we'll go right back to the top of the batting order for Ricky Henderson and Willie McGee. 5-1, Oakland ahead. That time take. Joe, I wanted to go back to that 3-0 swing by Brunansky and get your thoughts on that.
Well, my thoughts won't be like the other Joe Morgan's thoughts. I would not let a guy swing 3-0 when I'm trailing 5-1 and he can only bring us within a run. Mike Marshall, who is on deck, say Bruno takes a walk, which it was ball 4, and Mike Marshall hits a home run. Now you're tied. So you have to try to get runners on base when you're coming from behind.
That's a foul ball.
I mean, even, and I mean this, even if Ted Williams is hitting, you don't swing 3-0 in that situation right there, 5-1 with 2 men on base.
So if it's 5-2,
then you let him go because he can tie the score. But 5-1, I mean, that's when you're losing 5-1. I mean, I'm just amazed that he was letting him swing 3-0 when you're 4 runs down.
This is a different topic, but are there some hitters maybe on 3-0 you just never give the green light to?
Yes. A lot of guys will swing at bad pitches, as Brunansky did there.
He struck him out looking. Gallego retired. Let's take it now to Baseball Tonight and John Saunders.
And we'll take it to Chicago, where the Royals face the White Sox. First inning, Eric King, first start since July. Danny Tartabull down into the corner and right. Pacoda comes in. George Brett, who had doubled and stays hot, comes in as well. 2-0. That's the score now in the second inning. Let's get back to John and Joe at Fenway.
Thanks, John. We'll be keeping an eye on that ball game, of course. The White Sox trying to keep up with the Athletics. They're trying to catch the Athletics as Ricky Henderson takes ball 1. The White Sox have 7 games left with the Red Sox yet. And that's a ball. Unlike the National League, where once you hit right after Labor Day, you play exclusively within your own division because of the odd number of teams in the American League division, 7 teams in each division. You've always got teams playing against the other division at some time. And because of that, you've got the odd situation here in September where the Red Sox will have a big say in how the White Sox turn out. And, of course, here's Oakland playing in Boston right now. Ricky Henderson, who singled his first time, draws a walk this time. 1 out, 1 on. Again, the Toronto Blue Jays were beaten earlier today by Detroit 5-0. Happy Labor Day. Is that the right greeting? I mean, we hope you had a nice Labor Day, nice Labor Day weekend. Joe, what'd you do Labor Day? You have a barbecue with the family and the kids? And
relaxed. I just relaxed and watched the U.S. tennis, U.S. Open tennis.
There goes Ricky. McGee took the pitch, and he's got the steal. That's a big jump against Lamp. Ricky Henderson with his 55th steal of the year.
Well, Lamp, being a sinker ball pitcher, is a little slower to the plate than you'd like. And he has this big leg kick, and Ricky's can run all the while he's kicking his leg up. And you can see it's not even close at second base.
It is number 926 lifetime for Ricky Henderson. 12 behind Lou Brock's all-time record. McGee takes a strike. 1-1. Now McGee would like to get Ricky over to third base somehow. A job which Lansford handled very capably.
I think Willie McGee is, we mentioned he had driven in 62 runs in the National League. I think, he is capable in this situation of just driving Ricky in by himself. That's the one thing you'll see from Willie McGee. He will swing at a lot of pitches, look bad. Next thing you know, he'll take that same pitch and hit a line drive someplace. He's a very unorthodox hitter. He does not have your smooth swing or your smooth stride.
Strike was just bluffing there. Nobody was covering. Willie McGee says he's not really excited about being with Oakland and in the pennant race. His head is swirling right now. He's kind of confused about it all. There goes Ricky. McGee fouls it off. 1-2. See Ricky now just 12 more stolen bases to catch the all-time leader, Lou Brock. Of course, in a lot less games, Ricky. He was the all-time single-season record holder as well.
I think, you know, he's a lot less games than Lou Brock. Ricky Henderson is undoubtedly a great base stealer. But when Lou Brock played, the game was played a little differently. You didn't steal bases in certain situations, or you didn't steal bases when your team was ahead. Certain things. Now the game has changed, and numbers are more important.
And Ricky won't need to steal this one. He's down to third in the count to McGee. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It's a slider that gets away, and I think Pena was fooled a little bit because he should have backhanded this ball, but he tries to get over in front of it, and he can't. He tried to catch it with his palm up. I think he should have tried to backhand it a little bit, but it's a wild pitch. It was a very tough play.
Second Red Sox wild pitch thrown already. We're only in the second. Oakland ahead 5-1. And Boston brings the infield in here. McGee strikes out on a ball in the dirt. Tagged out by Pena. They haven't thrown him too many strikes here in the American League these last few days.
Well, that's one thing they said in the National League. If you get ahead of him, don't throw him another strike. And the ball breaks into the dirt, and that's one weakness that Willie McGee has. He can handle curveballs, he can handle fastballs, he can handle all the pitches, but he will swing at a lot of bad pitches, and he will chase pitches on occasion.
Now here is Canseco. Strike one. In this city where Babe Ruth started his career, perhaps the most charismatic figure ever to play Major League Baseball. Jose Canseco comes into this historic old ballpark, and the minute he walks out of the dugout for batting practice, the whole place lights up. That's a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. He was accosted by media. He was surrounded by writers and television people, radio people. Fans began coming down to the box seat railing, hollering for his autograph. Runner at third. 2 down. A called strike on the inside, and Jose does not think so.
Well, it's a sinker ball that tails back into the hitter, and Jose thinks it's inside. You can see him turn away from it. But the umpire says he's got the inside corner.
Well, the fans called that one a strike. 2-2 the count.
Well, Tony Pena thought it was a strike, and so did Dennis Lamb. But their opinions really do not matter right here.
Tony Pena. Ay, caramba. 2-2 to Canseco. 3-2.
You're talking about all the media hype and all the fans clamoring for Canseco. To his credit, he is handling everything a lot better now than he did, you know, a couple of years ago. And I think that's just a little bit more security, both with himself and about his station in baseball. He is much more mature now.
Strike 3 call. So this time they do get the call, and Canseco strikes out for the second straight time. Henderson this time is stranded. At the end of 1.5 from Fenway Park. Oakland 5 and Boston 1.
Pirates started the night a half game behind the New York Mets in the National League East, facing the Phillies. Doug Drabek on the mound, picks up his 7th complete game, gets Lenny Dykstra here. 4 hits, 6 strikeouts, his 18th win. First man to reach that number in the National League. Those numbers this year against the Phillies. Now a reminder, the Mets and the Pirates You can see them here Wednesday night. This game will be seen in Pittsburgh. Back to John and Joe.
Thanks, John. We're at Fenway Park. This is John Miller along with Joe Morgan. Mike Marshall, the hitter, and he takes a called strike from Scott Sanderson. 5-1. Oakland ahead, last of the second. Pena and Rivera will follow. 3 one-time National Leaguers in a row here against the one-time National Leaguer Sanderson. By the way, in that ball game today that John Saunders was talking about, Len Dykstra, although he struck out on the highlight, went 2 for 4. And he is averaging .342 for the year now. McGee, of course, at .335 forever in 1990 anyway in the National League. Ball 1. And Dave Magadan of the Mets is third, hitting .330.
But he's injured, and he may not get enough official at-bats. He's injured right now.
That's playable for Joe Morgan in the television booth. And it's over our heads, actually, onto the rooftop and maybe out onto Yawkey Way, the streets of Boston.
You mentioned yesterday, John, that Bunbury was gone because of illness in his family. Well, his mother, Mrs. Helen Newman, is ill in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and I told him I'd say hello to her for him. He's happy to be back, but he says she's doing better.
Marshall is down on strikes. And we're glad to hear that. We send along all of our best wishes, too, and hope that things will be sufficiently improved that Al will be able to get back out here. In fact, he is here tonight, which in itself is a good sign. The B, Al Bunbury, a veteran of many a pennant race. Here's Tony Pena. Now, Pena has a long history against Sanderson. He's had 32 at-bats in his career against Sanderson and is hitting .344 against him. Ball 1. Well, Sanderson was able to survive that first inning. Looked like it might be a lot worse, but just the 1-run scoring for Boston. He's got a very comfortable lead right now, 5-1. It's foul off to the right. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cincinnati also won today in the National League. In fact, I better double check here. Cincinnati lost today 8-6 to Atlanta. Wild one. Grant the winner over Leana. The Dodgers will play later tonight, and some of you will see that Dodger game here in the third part of our triple header on Labor Day. Dodgers play Houston later. Cincinnati is also sitting fairly comfortably atop the National League West. Randolph got that hard hop. Throws out Tony Pena. 2 down in the second. Coming up, the San Francisco Giants, the Pacific Stock Exchange. Clark, Mitchell, and Williams against Joe Carter, Jack Clark, and Tony Gwynn, the San Diego Padres. Chris Berman and Tommy Hutton will be out there in San Diego and sunny Southern California to bring it to you. And some of you will also see the Dodgers and Houston later on. The Dodgers, with a win tonight, would pull back to within 5.5 games of Cincinnati. They've got some games left with Cincinnati. One ball and no strikes to Luis Rivera. Sanderson with no trouble whatsoever. The 2 nights we've been here, the last third of the Boston batting order has not done anything at all. 5-1 Oakland after 2. John Miller, Joe Morgan. Baseball tonight from Fenway Park in Boston. Harold Baines will lead it off. You see the Athletics with a 5-run first inning leading here. How do you figure it? The Red Sox with a 10-game winning streak playing here at home where they've been red hot. Oakland has been playing well, but they haven't been scoring many runs, and they jump right out with 5 runs in the first inning in this one. Tim McClelland and the Red Sox catcher Tony Pena having a long discussion here before we start this inning.
Well, I'm sure there was a discussion on one of the pitches that was called strike 2 on Tony Pena in his at-bat in the bottom of the second inning.
Dennis Lamp to Harold Baines, former teammates with the White Sox. Jody Reed throws out Baines, who is now 0 for 2 in this one. And that will bring up Carney Lansford. 5-1, Oakland ahead.
4. Thailand to 13. Lansford.
Out in Oakland 3 weeks ago when these clubs last played 3-game series. Oakland won 2 out of 3, even though Canseco and Ricky Henderson were both out of the lineup at that time. Foul. Lansford also has been playing hurt. The game we did on Sunday Night Baseball in Cleveland, the Sunday before the All-Star break, Lansford on the final out of that game, catching a foul pop, pulled his hamstring. And although it's better now and he can play with it, he says it's about 80%. He does not anticipate being at 100% again until sometime this winter. He says maybe after he's had a few weeks on the beach in Hawaii or someplace. That foul will reach back and in amongst the spectators. Quintana gave chase. 2 strikes to Carney. Get into a pennant race, you play with those things.
Well, you can play with pain. It's the injuries you can't play with. Dwight Evans has an injury to his back.
He struck him out looking.
25. On the wire. First base.
Dennis Lamp has done a great job. He's had 4 strikeouts since he's been in there.
In 2 innings. McGuire coming up.
This is Mark McGuire's home run chart. Shows where he hits most of his home runs. As I mentioned, he has 33. That's most of them, of course, to left and left center. A couple of straight away, and then a couple even to right center. So it shows that he has power in just about all directions. Doesn't hit many down the right field line, but very rarely do you see a lot of right-handed hitters hit for home runs down the right field line.
1 ball. And that slider misses from Lamp. Ball 2. That's Lamp, who has been getting knocked around lately. And he at times has been critical of his manager, Joe Morgan, as you see McGuire's average going down over the years.
Home runs have remained up. So maybe swinging for more home runs than before. But his first year, I thought he was going to be a guy to hit 280 to 300 every year and hit his 30 home runs.
2-2.
He's continued to hit his 30 home runs, but his average has continued to drop. And he's the only guy that hit 30 or more home runs his first 4 years in the major leagues. That includes all of the past sluggers of all time and everything. He's the only guy to do that.
Well, we knew he was going to do some great things in that rookie year when he hit 49 home runs, obliterating the all-time rookie record for home runs.
See Tony Pena calling for a high fastball.
Yeah, that inside pitch called a ball.
Well, as I mentioned, McGuire's a low ball hitter, so Tony Pena told Dennis Lamp to come up with the fastball. He couldn't get it up anyway, and he missed with it inside. See, sometimes a pitcher doesn't have the ability to pitch to a hitter's weakness. Since Lamp throws so many sinker balls, it's very tough for him to try to make himself throw up in the strike zone.
Here's Jamie Quirk. He's 35 years of age, from Southern California originally. Been with Kansas City, Milwaukee, the St. Louis Cardinals, the White Sox, Cleveland, the Yankees, Baltimore last year. Right to Jody Reed, and he throws out Jamie Quirk. And that retires the side. Lamp has things well in hand. Top of the order coming up for Boston. Red Sox trail 5. And welcome back to Fenway Park. This is John Miller along with Joe Morgan. Your ESPN Sunday night telecasters working a holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah, some holiday, huh?
Yep.
But we're at Fenway Park in the pennant race, which is right where we want to be. With all apologies to our families back home who I'm sure enjoyed their barbecues and had a great day in the sunshine. At least we hope so.
Maybe they'll save some for us.
And my family says to me, hey, Dad, whenever you're in town, call and, hey, stop by even if you have time. There's a ball to Jody Reed, 2-0. Jody Reed is the leadoff hitter in every sense of the word for the Red Sox. We've been here 2 nights, and this is his 6th plate appearance, and he's led off an inning all 6 times. 2-0, and that's a ball. Now, I used to work here in Boston, Joe, broadcaster for the Red Sox, and right out beyond the left field wall, a couple of blocks away in Kenmore Square, is my favorite little pizza place called the Pizza Pad. Bob and Woody run that for many years, and they are so pleased to hear that I'm working with a Hall of Famer these days, such as yourself, that they sent us over a pizza. Bob and Woody over at the Pizza Pad at Kenmore Square. I used to do a ball game here. I'd walk over to Kenmore Square, stop in. I made pizzas. They showed me how to do it. Then sometimes I'd even, maybe have one slice before I'd go home. There's a pop foul. Playable for Quirk. And Jody Reed, who walked his first time and scored a run, is retired. So thanks to Bob and Woody over there at the Pizza Pad. Joe, you can go ahead and have it. You can have the slice because I didn't make this one. This was made by trained professionals. Like Joe's deep into that pizza already.
Yeah, no, not yet, but I will be.
Here is Carlos Quintana. He singled his first time, hitting .298 right up to the moment. 5-1, Oakland ahead. Ball 1 from Scott Sanderson.
Now, John, the perception of a ball club is very interesting to me. A lot of people perceive the Oakland A's as the best team in baseball, which they may be. A lot of people perceive the Cincinnati Reds as a very fine ball club.
Willie McGee, plenty of room on this one. The wind knocking it down a little bit as well. 2 down.
Well, the point is the Oakland A's, most people have conceded the American League West to the Oakland A's, and they had a 6.5 game lead. Most people say the Cincinnati Reds, who started the day with a 6.5 game lead, would win the National League West. No one is saying the Boston Red Sox is going to win, and they have a 6.5 game lead. Their lead is the same as everyone else's, but no one is conceding the American League East to them. It's the perception that everyone has of these different ball clubs. All of them have the exact same lead at this starting today's action.
Ball 1 to Boggs. Well, that's the history of the Red Sox, I guess.
That curse?
The Curse of the Bambino, which is the title of Dan Shaughnessy's book. A fine book, by the way. 1 ball and 1 strike to Boggs. 2 down, nobody on. He flied out to left his first time. Well, in 1974, Labor Day weekend, the Red Sox had about a 7.5 game lead over the Orioles. The Yankees were also about in there. And people were talking about, gee, if they only played 500 their last 32 games, Baltimore would have to go 25 and something or other. Boggs down on strikes. Well, that September, their collapse was so total that Baltimore not only beat them, they beat them by 7. They made 14.5 games up those last 32. It has happened in the past. Oakland 5, Boston 1 at the end of 3. It's Oakland 5 and Boston 1 at Fenway Park. We go to the 4th inning. Willie Randolph will lead it off. Then Mike Gallego and Ricky Henderson. Dennis Lamp on the mound. He's really calmed things down. Half swing by Randolph. Looked like he was just trying to get out of the way of it. He's back in amongst the spectators. Strike 1. We were talking about the curse of the Bambino. The perception of the Red Sox come September. Willie Randolph in 1978 was with the Yankees, who at one point were some 14 games back of Boston and yet came back to beat them. On the Bucky Dent homer in that playoff game, that's a bunt and a miss, strike 2. And in September of that year, Randolph's Yankees came to Fenway down by 4 games. They won all 4 in what has since come to be known as the Boston Massacre. I mean, they won those games by an average score of something like 11-2. 4 straight days, they just annihilated the Red Sox, and every day it was 5, 6, 7 runs in the first inning by the Yankees. The Red Sox were never in any one of those games at any time. Randolph into right center. Brunansky's there. And there is one away. In the fourth, and let's go now to Baseball Tonight and John Saunders.
Orioles and the Mariners, Dave Gallagher at the plate, and Ken Griffey Sr. can still come. Coming in from left field, makes the grab. He also had a hit in the game. Ken Jr. had 2 hits, so the Griffey family has 3. The Orioles have lost 9 of 10 and 4 straight. Back to John and Joe.
Well, it was family day at Baltimore today. The Griffeys going against the Orioles and the Ripkins. Cal and Bill, the brothers, and Father Cal Sr., the third base coach for the Orioles. Looks like the Griffeys had the better of the Ripkins today down there. Strike one to Mike Gallego. 1 out and nobody on. And we had, they gave me a slice of pepperoni, Joe. You got, what's it? You got onions and sausage and...
Well, they've got another one over there.
Wow. What's that, the Hall of Fame special? Everything anybody's ever put on a pizza in the history of pizza making is on Joe's slice. Look at that. There's a statue. There's a replica of the Statue of Liberty in there. There's a replica of your Hall of Fame plaque down there, and made out of some what's that? Sausage. Lamp will throw out Gallego. 2 men gone.
The one thing that Dennis Lamp has done that the kicker did not do, John, is he's pitched the Oakland A's hitters inside. I've always felt that to be successful against the Oakland A's, you have to come inside and keep them honest. And that's what Dennis Lamp is doing so well.
Let's see that Hall of Fame pizza there. Oh, we're gone now. We're off. Wow. 2 down. Here's Ricky Henderson, who has a single and a walk and a stolen base. And it is ball 1. If Ricky wins the batting championship, which he may, it'll be the first time that back-to-back right-handed hitters in the American League have won since the mid-50s. Kirby Puckett beat out Ricky's teammate Carney Lansford for the title last year in the American League. The last time 2 straight right-handed hitters have done it, 1954 and 55. And Bobby Avila did it for the Indians, and then Al Kaline did it in 55 for Detroit. It's been done in the National League as recently as the mid-70s, and Bill Matlock handled it both years. Ball and a strike to Ricky. 5-1 Oakland ahead. And strike 2. That big 5-run first inning, and the subsequent ability of Sanderson to get Boston out without a lot of damage, kind of taking the crowd out of this ball game here.
Well, I think they still realize that Boston has a chance. They just can only score when the top of their order is up. That's the problem.
Strike 3 call. That is the 4th Oakland Athletics player to be called out on strikes. And Ricky didn't think so. 5-1. Burks, Greenwell, and Brunansky coming. Here come the Red Sox. Last of the 4th inning at Fenway Park. Oakland ahead 5-1. Tomorrow night, Clemens faces Stewart. 2 of the premier pitchers in baseball, and really that goes without saying. Stewart has won 20 in each of the last 3 years. He needs 3 more to do it for a 4th year. And of course, Clemens has already won 20 this year. Here's Burks, and he takes a strike. Burks hit into a force play his first time. He's 0 for 1. Scott Sanderson has allowed just 2 hits. Two strikes.
Well, Ricky Henderson, along with Jose Canseco and a lot of the other hitters, have complained about Tim McCullum's strike zone. Ricky says this ball was inside, and watch his reaction. He's very upset. He said the ball was way inside. Canseco said the same thing. A lot of guys have complained.
That's a fair ball, and it will go into the corner. Burks will head for second. Ricky's throw. Safe.
Sanderson throws him an off-speed pitch here, and he gets out in front of it, pulls it down the left field line, and Ricky Henderson's speed keeps it from going all the way into the corner. He makes a fine throw to second, but Burke's speed beats it out for a double.
31st double of the year for Ellis Burks, and here is Mike Greenwell. Greenwell is terrifying pitchers these days, and he has an RBI tonight. The slow curve is ball one. No. McClellan is taking a long while to give us his call there.
Well, the players wish he would take a little longer because they're not agreeing with him.
5-1, Oakland ahead. We're in the last of the 4th inning at Fenway Park. This is John Miller, along with Joe Morgan. I think he's decided to call that one a ball, Joe. I'm pretty sure now. Well, you know, the whole point of making the signal is for the fans in the stands and for people like us. In the old days, they didn't make signals. I protest. I want that call right now. Don't make me wait like that. He's kind of styling us, I think, a little bit here. We just want the substance. Ball is strike. 2-1 to Greenwell. There's a beach ball out there. Some more folks in from the Cape. Stopped by just back from the beach. Forgot to leave the beach balls in the car. 2-1 to Greenwell. 9 RBIs in his last 8 at-bats. Hey, didn't get it. 2-2 the count.
Good fastball from Sanderson, also in a very good spot. Up and in. That's the toughest pitch for most left-handers and most hitters to handle. And you'll see that he swings right under it.
Burks at second, nobody out. 5-1 Oakland. The 2-2 pitch. Just off the corner. Scott Sanderson. He may end up with his best year in 10 years. He's already won 13. 3-2. That is popped up. Gallego will give way to Ricky Henderson. Greenwell is retired. Well, we're through the top 5 positions in the batting order. And the last couple of days, those top 5 had gone 8 for 18. That doesn't even include all the walks and other things that they've done. But the last 4 hitters of the order are 0 for 20. Brunansky, Marshall, Pena, and Rivera. None of those 4 has had a hit for a while. Runner at second, 1 out. Drive deep and foul. Onto the rooftop and heading for Lansdowne Street.
Well, Brunansky has been up in a lot of crucial situations, but he has not been able to capitalize on them. He's left 8 men in the last couple of days. Left 2 in the first inning tonight.
Just Greenwell and Burks alone have given him how many RBI opportunities? They've been all over the bases. Brunansky with only 9 home runs here for the Red Sox. Kind of stunning, really, because he had been a terror coming in with the Twins into this ballpark against Boston pitching, and he seemed to be ideally suited for Fenway Park, but he hasn't done a whole lot here this year. That slow curveball in for a called strike 2. Brunansky in 8 consecutive seasons has hit at least 20 home runs. He has hit 10 this year, by the way, 9 with Boston. He had 1 with St. Louis before he was traded. He can become a free agent at the end of the year. Burks at second, 1 out. This is the 1-2 pitch. And the forkball is in the dirt. 2-2. Storm Davis won 19 games for the Athletics last year, and Sanderson, in effect, was acquired to fill Storm's slot. Storm won 19 last year, 16 the year before. That's 35 victories. But Sanderson has been up to the task. Time taken by Brunansky. Burks there at second. He led off the inning with a double. Fenway Park jam-packed. Standing room only. And Brunansky will back out again.
Sanderson and Quirk are having problems with the signals. Sanderson looked at the signals and told him to start again. He started again. He looked one more time and said start again. And that's why Brunansky has stepped out a couple of times.
2-2. Right to the shortstop, and they've got Burks hung up. Gallego will go right to him and tag him out. Burks with the base running mistake.
Burks was trying to get a good jump off of second base so he could score on a base hit to left field, but the ball's hit so hard he doesn't have time to get back to second base. It's a good play by Randolph and Gallego. See how deep he is. Now he wants to get back, but now Randolph is there, so he takes off at third. Gallego makes the right play and just runs him down. And he did it quick enough so that there was no chance for Brunansky to move up.
This is Marshall backing away from that curve ball. Marshall struck out his first time. Brunansky at first on the fielder's choice. 5-1. Oakland ahead. This is the last of the fourth inning. Deep to left field. It has a chance and gone. A home run for Marshall. And just like that, the Red Sox are back into it. 5-3 Oakland.
That's the reason why I couldn't understand how they let Brunansky swing 3-0 in the first inning with a couple of runners on when he was not the tying run. If he'd have walked, Mike Marshall would have been the tying run, and he's capable of doing this. Done it a lot in his career. It's a fastball that's over the outside part of the plate, and Marshall drives it over the left field screen.
Here's Pena now. 5-3. Ball one. Third home run for Marshall with the Red Sox. And that lower portion of the batting order now is chipping in. Pena grounded out his first time. That's a called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Burks led off with a double. Brunansky then replacing him in the bases after Burks' base running mistake, and then Marshall hits one out of the park. And ball 2. 2-1. Well, Marshall taking advantage of Fenway. Now the wind is blowing in. You have to hit it well tonight, but they measured that out at 340 feet. I mean, into left center, what would be the power alley in most ballparks, it's about 340 to that place in that left center field wall. That's a base hit into center field. They're hitting the ball hard all of a sudden against Sanderson.
I don't think you can say enough about Tony Pena and his contributions to the Boston Red Sox. He's played with a sore thumb. His batting average has dropped, but he's wanted to stay in there, and he's continued to be the guy behind the plate that's led the Boston starting pitchers to the best earned run average in the American League. So this guy, I don't think you just can't say enough about him. He is probably their most valuable player, even though these other guys are doing more statistically. with their bats, he's done more to make this a solid team than anybody else this season, I believe. And most of the players on the Red Sox team give him credit for that.
There's Gene Nelson out of the Oakland bullpen, the right-hander. He'll get ready. Dave Duncan, the pitching coach, has visited the mound to chat with Sanderson. Here is Luis Rivera. And the Red Sox are coming after him here in the 4th inning. Rivera popped to first his first time. Takes that slow curve from his one-time teammate, and that's a ball. Rivera has a little pop in his bat in 2 games, Thursday and Friday. He hit a couple of home runs, one a grand slam, drove in 7 runs in those 2 games. 2-0. Jody Reed, the leadoff hitter, is on deck.
All of a sudden, Sanderson can't get anything over but his fastball, and you can't pitch that way to the Boston Red Sox. You have to be able to keep them off balance. And if you're only using one pitch in the strike zone, you can't keep them off balance. He's missing with his slow curve. He's missing with the forkball. And now it's a 2-0 count. He has to come with the fastball again.
Well, Rivera let a pretty good-looking pitch go there.
Well, he knew he was going to get the fastball, but he took it. The way he's walking around, they may have made him take it. They may have given him the take sign.
He looked none too pleased, didn't he? I mean, he kind of...
He walked around as if to say, hey, you should have let me hit.
2-1 the count. He hits that one. It's fair. Off the railing. To third base goes Pena. Rivera to second. A double for Luis Rivera.
Rivera probably said to himself, I could have done that one pitch sooner if you'd have let me. But it's another fastball, 2-1. And he pulls it inside the bag at third. It goes and it hits off the wall and bounces into shallow left field. Ricky Henderson comes in to field it as Tony Pena comes around second. And Tony's going all out. He's trying to score. Now he picks up the throw, and they throw it into third base, and he has to get back quickly.
So here's Jody Reed, and a base hit could tie this game now. Runners at second and third, 2 down. Ball 1. Nelson up in the Oakland bullpen. The right-hander is still throwing. Reed has walked and scored a run, and he is fouled to the catcher. He's been one of Boston's most important players this year, hitting .305 for the year.
You mentioned earlier he had led off 6 straight times. He has not seen a pitcher from a stretch in 2 days. This is the first time in the 2 days we've been here.
A called strike, 1 ball, 1 strike. In this inning, 2 doubles, a single, and a home run for the Red Sox. They've had 4 hits against Sanderson just in this inning. Oakland's 5-run first still has them ahead, but Boston on the attack. 2 down, 2 on. The 1-1 pitch on the way. The curveball too high. There's Tony Pena, the runner at third base, and Luis Rivera, the possible tying run. He's at second base. He'll try and get the good jump here. And with 2 down, he'll be running on anything. The infield backed up. Second baseman Randolph pulled over toward the middle against Jody Reed. The left side is straight up against him. 2-1. And he fouled that one away. Got the fastball, but fouled it back. 2-2 to Jody Reed. Trying to weave some Morgan's magic there. Bill Morgan, the Boston manager. Jody Reed with a 2-2 count. The curveball is too high again. It's not difficult to throw a curveball too high to this fellow. He's listed at 5'8". Full count to Jody Reed. Carlos Quintana is on deck. Sanderson ready. Here comes. He curved him again. Strike 3 called. So Sanderson gets out of trouble. And the Red Sox get the 2, stranding to 5-3 Oakland after 4. Well, Oakland's lead was once 5-0. It's now 5-3. And we've got more than half of this game yet to be played. Tomorrow night, we'll be right back here on ESPN. Sean McDonough and Ray Knight will be with you as the Athletics and Red Sox send their aces to the mound. It'll be Roger Clemens and Dave Stewart tomorrow. You don't get matchups like that very often. Followed by the San Francisco Giants and the San Diego Padres from the West Coast. So make your plans to be with us on ESPN tomorrow, your baseball network. Covering baseball as it's never been covered before. Well, it's 5-3. Dennis Lamp, sort of the unsung hero for the Red Sox so far. He came in, the score was 5-0. He has thrown 3 1/3 no-hit shutout innings, keeping it from getting any worse. And the Red Sox have shaved 3 runs off that 5-run disadvantage since Lamp took the mound. Willie McGee has an infield hit, and he has struck out. He has scored a run. A switch hitter batting left-handed. Canseco and Baines will follow. 2-0. The newcomers, McGee and Baines, have not made a big impact yet with the bat. The 2 of them have gone 4 for 28 with their new ball club. McGee said there's been such a year of making transitions in St. Louis. They were making transitions, and Whitey Herzog resigned as manager. There's a called strike. 2-1. And of course, McGee and so many of the other players were free agents to be. The club was doing poorly. Now he comes to an entirely different league. New teammates, new ballparks, new pitchers to learn. 3-1. Canseco on deck. McGee said as a kid he was an A's fan. Grew up in Richmond, California, just outside of Oakland. Still lives there in the winter. They're in the Bay Area. And he says he was an A's fan, but there were players on the Giants that he rooted for as well, like Willie Mays, his idol. 3-2. Wes Gardner, right-hander, up in the Boston bullpen. We're in the 5th inning. Bullpen's night to work here on Labor Day for the Red Sox, with kicker, the starter, knocked out after just 2/3 of an inning. Beach ball has gotten on the field along the left field line there. He knew just what to do with that one. A veteran beach ball chaser, if ever there was one. Rivera, and he just does get Willie McGee. One away in the 5th inning. Now Canseco coming up, Joe.
Well, you hear the round of boos for him. He gets a reaction every place he goes. And this is his home run chart. His looks a little different than Mark McGwire's. Most of his have gone almost straightaway center field. And he has hit one down the right field line. So he shows that he has power in all directions.
Also, most of his have come by July 31st. He's hit only 2 home runs since
when you start this first, when you play with a lot of pain, when your back is bothering you, you have something that's bothering you. Pretty soon it catches up with you psychologically. You say you can play through it at first, which he had done.
At shortstop, Rivera short hops it and throws out Canseco.
But you can't continue to play through it without it bothering you psychologically. And you can look there and see. In June, he was out for quite a few games, 25, I guess, to be exact, with a back problem. And in August, his back has been bothering him. And those are the months that he has not produced very well, June and August. So you can see right there how he feels. He felt very good in May and July. And, of course, April was a short month.
Here's Baines. The sinker ball is low. Baines has popped to third and grounded to second. 5-3. Oakland ahead. Mark McGwire hit a 2-out, 2-run single in the first. And then Steinbach followed that with a 3-run homer. They have not had a hit since then. 2 down, 5th inning. And this is an easy play for Jody Reed. That's 4 in the third. No hit innings for Dennis Lamp. The Red Sox with Quintana, Boggs, and Burks will be back. Back to Fenway Park. And Scott Sanderson with a 2-run lead facing Carlos Quintana. The right-handed hitter takes ball 1. Quintana has singled and flied to center. Quintana will be followed by Boggs and Burks. Greenwell due up 4th in the inning. Boston with 6 hits. Oakland with 4. 2-0. And that Oakland bullpen is busy again. Gene Nelson had gotten up in the 4th inning. And he's back up now. After Oakland's 5-run first, Boston got 1 in the first and then 2 in the 4th. Is a strike. 2-1. Deep into center field. McGee, though, will have room. Quintana is retired. 390 feet to dead straightaway center field. And that wall out there is 17 feet high.
Well, that's kind of Death Valley out there. If you don't hit it real well, and it has to be getting a little wind help if it goes out in that part of the ballpark.
Here's Wade Boggs. Boggs is flying to left and struck out. Ball 1. Now the Boston bullpen is also busy again. And Nelson is no longer throwing in the Oakland bullpen. The left-hander Klink is up out there. Got that fastball right past Wade Boggs. 1-1.
The one thing that Sanderson has been able to do to Boggs is stay in tight in his other at-bats. He threw the curveballs inside, and he's throwing the fastball inside. He has not been able. He's not given Boggs a chance to reach out over the plate. Again, he stays inside. And I think that's what you have to do to a real good hitter. You have to pitch him one way and make him hit the ball that way. If you start moving the ball out over the plate, he can either pull it or go the other way with you. Give him too many options.
3-1. There's nothing Boggs to do. He'll take a walk. It could work against him, I guess, these last 29 games. It needs 39 hits to get 200, but he walks very frequently.
Well, those hits he shouldn't even be thinking about that, because the only thing you're thinking about now is winning a pennant or winning a division. You don't worry about the fact that you need X number of hits to get to 200, or you need X number of hits to get to this 348 lifetime batting average, which is 4th to those great hitters, Ty Cobb, Roger Hornsby, and shoeless Joe Jackson.
All of whom were playing and in their prime. Well, Hornsby was really in his prime later in the 20s, but all of them were playing at the time when Boston last won a World Series, which was 1918, 72 years ago. 3-2 count. High in the air, but foul, and this will drop back into the grandstand. Henderson, Gallego, and Lansford all gave chase, but there was no play. Now that, in many ballparks, there is a play maybe for somebody in that one.
Well, it is in California. All the California ballparks have a lot of space down the foul lines.
And Canada.
Yeah, a lot of these older ballparks do not have that.
3-2 to Boggs. Right back at Sanderson. Hello. 2 down. Burks is coming up. Let's go to John Saunders at Baseball Tonight.
Indians in the Rangers, bottom of the third. Nolan Ryan pitching for Texas, and hey, guess what? They get him some runs. Jack Doherty scoring Pettis here with the RBI single. Pettis had singled as well in a run, 2-0. Nolan looking for career win number 302. He's up 2-0 in the fourth. Back to John and Joe.
Thanks, John. Here is Ellis Burks, who's hit into a force play. Then he started that 2-run fourth-inning rally with a double to left field. 2 down, nobody out in the fifth inning. 5-3, Oakland out in front. So Nolan Ryan got shut out in his last start. That's the 49th time in his career somebody's thrown a shutout against him. Walter Johnson was the all-time leader in that record he didn't want. He got shut out 65 times in games he started. Two down, nobody on. 1 ball, 1 strike. That one back just beneath us. The White Sox, by the way, are at home tonight against Kansas City. That game is 2-2 in the fourth inning. We can see that ourselves at Fenway Park and the hand-operated scoreboard out on the left field wall. Roy Eisenhart, then there it is, executive with the Athletics. He thought that idea was such a good one. It was so old it was new, and they built one out in Oakland to show all of the out-of-town scores. The hand-operated board. Otherwise, I think what here in Wrigley Field were the only places that had those left. 2-1 the count to Burks. The baseball game really usually has significance in relation to the other ball games being played. They all tie together. Popped him up. Work will have a shot at it. He made sure on that one. And that retires the side in order. 5-3 Oakland after 5. We go to the 6th inning now. This Labor Day is special holiday edition of Baseball Tonight. Wes Gardner has come on to pitch now with the Boston Red Sox. Veteran right-hander.
Well, he's given up a lot more hits than innings pitched. That's usually a telltale sign of a guy who's struggling, which he is with a 4.88 earned run average, and he's won 3 and lost 6.
Coming up next now, we've got more baseball. The San Francisco Giants will be in San Diego to meet the Padres. Will Clark, Kevin Mitchell, Matt Williams will hook up with Joe Carter, Jack Clark, Tony Gwynn and company from San Diego Stadium. A lot of intrigue around that Padres club. I read where some are speculating that Jack McKeon, now the general manager only, may be in jeopardy out there. New ownership of that ball club. Carney Lansford, the hitter. He has walked and struck out. Here's Brunansky in shallow right. Carney is retired. Dennis Lamp kept his Red Sox in the ballgame tonight. Lamp, who'd been struggling. 4 1/3, no runs, no hits. Well, he was in there. 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. Could hardly ask for more from a middle reliever.
Well, the thing that he did so successfully was keep the A's off balance by staying inside. Wes Gardner did the same thing there to Carney Lansford. He came inside and jammed him.
Here's McGuire. 2-run single in the first.
The A's hitters on the most of the A's hitters like the ball out over the plate. So you have to stay in tight on them and then go away.
Gardner's a pretty hard thrower. 1-1. The last pitch on our radar gun clock at 92 miles per hour. Came back with almost the same pitch. Taken too high by McGuire. 2-1. McGuire walked his last time up there. He's got 89 RBIs now for the year. He and Canseco tied for second in the league. 2-2.
That's the spot to pitch him if you have a good fastball. And Wes Gardner has a good fastball. If you have a mediocre fastball, you better not try to do that. But he does not handle the fastball up well above the belt, and especially on the inside part of the plate.
Too far inside. 3-2. Seems like we've seen that pitch called a strike a couple of times. Full count to McGuire. 1 out of the 6th inning. 5-3. Oakland ahead. Strike 3 call. This one on the inside corner.
I think McGuire's been walked so much on 3-2 pitches with breaking balls, he gets caught looking for a breaking ball here. Because this fastball splits the middle of the plate and the middle of his body. He knows it's strike 3. I think he was looking for a breaking ball.
7 strikeouts for Boston pitchers, and 5 of them have been uncalled third strikes. Here's Jamie Quirk. He entered when Steinbach had to leave the game with a bruised knee. Ball 1. Steinbach hit a 3-run homer in the 1st inning and then had to leave the field. Never did play defensively, so Quirk's had 1 at bat, grounded to second. 2 down, nobody on in the 6th inning. Ball 1 strike. Gardner a couple of years ago when the Red Sox made their great second half run under then new manager Joe Morgan. Wes Gardner became a very important member of that starting rotation. And last year, injuries and ineffectiveness kept him out of there. And as we saw earlier, his numbers this year are not very good, and he's also had injury problems this season as well. Had he been healthy when Reardon had to go on the disabled list with his surgery, they had figured Gardner as the closer.
Good slider. That's the first good slider he has thrown. Right on the inside corner. It looks like he has real good stuff tonight.
One and 2 the count to Quirk. Randolph would be next. Oh. 2-2.
Well, Tony Pena wanted that pitch, and so did Gardner.
Pena with that target. 3-2.
Yeah. Good slider in the dirt there. He was trying to get him to chase it. This is what Tony Pena does so well. He gets down low, which helps him to keep the ball low. That's a little lower than he wanted it. But he gets a real low target. He gives a real low target for his pitchers. I think that's one of the reasons they've done so well so far this season. See how low it is?
Foul off to the left on the roof. I don't know how Pena does that. Could you do that?
No, I can't do that. My knees will not let me do that.
Who else does that? Any other catchers get down like that?
Not that I know of.
Too low. So Quirk draws the walk. 2 down, runner at first, and Willie Randolph will come to bat.
Manny Sanguillen, who used to catch for the Pirates, used to do that.
Manny Sanguillen. Sanguillen played 1 year with Oakland, 1977, after he left Pittsburgh. In fact, I think they got him. Charlie Finley owned the ball club. They got Sanguillen as partial compensation for allowing the Pirates to sign Chuck Tanner as manager. Charlie got some money and a player. First time they came to Fenway Park, Sherm Feller, one-time PA man here, announced Sanguillen and had never seen the name before, and he said, 35, Manny Sanguillen. Catcher Sanguillen. And that's the ball. And out to the mound goes Tony Pena.
And all of a sudden, you know, with the runner on first base, it changes your emotion a little bit, your concentration level, and he's leaving the ball up. So Pena wants to go out and tell him you concentrate on the target, not so much on the runner at first base. Although Jamie Quirk will steal a base for you every once in a while.
2-0 to Randolph. The 8th place hitter, Gallego, on deck. 5-3 Oakland, 6th inning. It's foul. And back just over our heads. 2-1. Jamie Quirk used to be an infielder, played the outfield, and somebody once told him, might have been his good friend George Brett, say, hey, you're a left-handed hitter. If you could catch, you'll stay around for a long, long time. He took those words to heart. He's still around at age 35. Now used almost only as a catcher. 3-1 to Randolph. Quirk was in the pennant race last year with the Baltimore Orioles. Race that the Blue Jays eventually won on the final weekend of the season. 3-1 to Randolph. Quirk with his lead. Ball 4. So back-to-back walks by Wes Gardner. This has been a career-long problem for him. He loses the strike zone curve very frequently.
Well, he had walked 24 hitters in the 659 innings, which is obviously too many.
Well, here's Mike Gallego. Now, he struck out and grounded out tonight. He's not a very big guy, not a real powerful guy, but he's had one at-bat in his career against Gardner, and he hit a home run the only time he faced him. The breaking ball for a strike.
That's what a lot of good catchers will do when they're having trouble getting their fastball over. Just go to the breaking ball. Give them something that changes their rhythm. Gets them out of that same rut of throwing the high fastball.
Strike 2. Gardner came to the Red Sox from the Mets organization in the deal that sent Bobby Ojeda to the Mets. Two strikes, 2 on, 2 out. He struck him out with a good slider. 2 men stranded. Oakland has stranded 4 for the game. Greenwell, Brunansky, Marshall coming up. The ESPN Baseball Tonight Pennant Chase continues on Tuesday night, beginning at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, as the world champion Oakland A's with the Big Sluggers, Jose Canseco and Mark McGwire. They'll be taking on the red-hot Boston Red Sox and Roger Clemens. Clemens matched up with Dave Stewart, the classic matchup, perhaps a preview of October, followed at 10:30 by the Giants and Kevin Mitchell meeting the Padres and Tony Gwynn. That's all coming up tomorrow night right here on ESPN. Tonight we're at Fenway Park with the first game of the Oakland-Boston series, and there's Gene Nelson coming on. Oakland is ahead 5-3, and we'll see the last of Scott Sanderson.
Well, Sanderson struggled a little bit. He couldn't get his breaking ball over enough, and he had to give up some fastballs. Gene Nelson's done a great job for the Oakland A's and has a good fastball and a good breaking ball, so they're trying to get to Eckersley is all they ever do. They just try to, anytime they have to take the starting pitcher out, all they want to do is use the other guys to get to Dennis Eckersley.
Mike Greenwell try and get to Gene Nelson here. He has singled home a run. He has flied out to shallow left, 1 for 2. 5-3, Oakland ahead. Nelson's front foot slipped or something there a little bit. 1 ball and no strikes. Greenwell hitting .291. 2-0. Brunansky and Marshall will follow. Oakland 5 in the first, Boston 1 in the first, 2 in the fourth. Each team has a home run. That one took a crazy bounce after hitting the edge of the grass, but McGwire was able to stay with it, and Nelson gets the put out.
It's a good 2-0 pitch by Nelson. He knows that Greenwell is sitting on the fastball, so he threw it, started it in the strike zone around the knees, and it sunk out of the strike zone. All Greenwell could do with it was hit a ground ball to the right side.
Now Brunansky, who has popped to third and hit into a fielder's choice. He then scored ahead of Marshall's home run. Blue Jays lost today at Detroit to the Red Sox. No matter what happens here, cannot lose ground. But a win would put them 7.5 up on the Jays. Big cut. 1 ball, 1 strike. Oakland with its 6.5 game lead also at the start of the day. Second place Chicago is in a 2-2 tie with Kansas City in the 6th inning at Comiskey Park. Pretty close. Change up low.
I think Brunansky, who came over from the Cardinals, he felt like this was a perfect place for him. Got off to a slow start, actually got a lot of base hits, but he wasn't hitting for much power. And I think he's starting to press a little bit to try to hit some more home runs.
3-2 now. Bruno had one big day here. He hit a couple of home runs, drove in 7, but he hasn't had many other days like that. Foul. Still 3 balls and 2 strikes. Gene Nelson, 29 years of age, Tampa, Florida. He was drafted in the 29th round by the Texas Rangers. He was the 690th player selected in that year's draft. That was actually 1978. He struck out Brunansky. 2 down and nobody on. Before Marshall bats, let's go to John Saunders at Baseball Tonight.
Royals and the White Sox, and Kevin Apier's still in there in the 6th, and Carlton Fisk, watch this one go into the upper deck. His 15th of the year, breaking a 2-2 tie. The White Sox on top as they chase the A's in the West. Right now, let's get it back to John and Joe in Fenway.
Well, the White Sox hanging tough. That young Baltimore with that very much of a veteran catcher, Carlton Fisk. Here's Marshall, and he takes a strike from Gene Nelson. Marshall homered his last time, struck out his first time. 5-3, Oakland ahead in the 6th inning. Chased one there, strike 2. Oakland will still have a series left with the White Sox. September 17th, 18th, and 19th in Oakland. Those will be the only opportunities for the White Sox to go head-to-head with the Athletics. Fouled off to the right.
You can see Jamie Quirk giving a real high target there for Gene Nelson, but he can't hit it. Nelson's trying to be a sinker ball pitcher and keep the ball down. And then the catcher wants him to throw up in the strike zone because that's where Mike Marshall's weakness is, but he can't get it up there. It's tough to go from a sinker ball pitcher to throwing the ball up, so he calls for a pitch down.
Down the left field line, Henderson on the run, and he disappeared. And he did not catch the ball. Swings at second base. I wonder what happened.
Well, he was coming close to the wall. I know that was happening. He was closing on that wall very quickly, and it's very dangerous down there for an outfielder to run full tilt into the wall. So Henderson, as he's chasing it, he realizes that he's coming into the wall. You can't see Henderson there, but you can now. There he is. And he's chasing it. He knows he's running out of room down there, and that's the problem. Picks it up and fires to second base, but Marshall, hustling all the way, goes in for a double.
So a ball is probably just a routine play anywhere else.
Yeah.
Turns into a double here for Mike Marshall. And here's Tony Pena. Red Sox get a break. 7th hit for Boston. Right to Randolph. And that ends the inning. 1 ahead, 1 left. We go to the 7th. Top of the order coming up for Oakland. 5-3 Oakland. Back in Boston, 5-3. Oakland ahead, the 5-run first inning. And so far, Oakland has not even had another hit since then. Wes Gardner, the third Boston pitcher, succeeding Dennis Lamp, who had 4 1/3 no-hit innings. Gardner walked a couple in the 6th, but now he goes to work in the 7th against Ricky Henderson, Willie McGee, and Jose Canseco.
Left fielder number 24, Henderson.
This is John Miller along with Joe Morgan. Henderson singled in the first, starting that 5-run rally. He walked and stole a base in the 2nd. He is the league's leading hitter now at .326, as you saw there. Strike one, 0-1. Well, you look at the postseason, and if these two teams indeed are going to meet, they will start the playoff series in Fenway Park. It's fouled on the right field line, just as they did in 1988. And you see the competition for Ricky Henderson. In 1988, you had Oakland coming here. They swept that series, of course, but I think you tend to forget the fact that the first 2 games at Fenway were both 1-run games. Deep in the left field. And this one is gone. A home run for Ricky Henderson. Number 24 for Ricky. The first run and first hit for Oakland since the first inning.
Well, that's why I say he's the most valuable player in the American League. He can beat you in so many ways. He started the rally in the first inning. Now he just gets 1 run right here, an insurance run. It's a curveball. He threw him a couple of fastballs, then he throws him a curveball. And Ricky stays back on it, kind of hangs in the middle of the plate. And he hit it basically with just hands, and he hits it up on the screen. And you can see he says, "I got you."
Here's ball 1 to Willie McGee. McGee is switch hitter. It's an infield hit. He is struck out, and he is grounded to short. 1 for 3. So Oakland has been slumbering for a while, but Ricky Henderson single-handedly gets him going here in the 7th, as he so often does.
Well, he has so many weapons with which to beat you with, and that's what makes him a special player.
McGee behind that fastball. 2-1. Hit the shot of Ricky back in the corner of the dugout there a moment ago. In the foreground, pitching coach Dave Duncan and catcher Jamie Quirk were having a rather interesting discussion. They were having a discussion there, very involved discussion. 3-1 now to McGee. Canseco on deck. Foul away. They're telling us, Joe, this is hard to believe. They're telling us here at Fenway Park that that is the first home run that Ricky Henderson has hit at Fenway Park. I think we need to double check that.
First ever?
Maybe they just mean first tonight. Willie McGee draws the walk. Things not looking too promising for Gardner here in the 7th inning. A home run, then a walk. Now Canseco comes up. 6-3 Oakland. Ricky hit as many as 28 home runs in a season. Joe Morgan, by the way, is going to get his bullpen busy. Not my Joe Morgan, but
Manager Joe Morgan.
That's it. Strike 1 to Canseco. There's Joe Hesketh, the veteran left-hander, formerly of Montreal. 1 strike to Canseco. He's 0 for 3. Struck out twice. And McGee back to the bag at first. McGee has stolen 1 base in the few days he's been here with Oakland, but he also scored a run just because of the threat of a steal. A game you did the other night, Friday night in Oakland. Ooh. The earth shook.
Well, it's a high fastball, and Canseco goes after it. Gardner throws it hard, and he swings hard, but it's way up and out of the strike zone. Tough pitch for anyone to handle.
0-2 to Canseco. The wall looks so close when Canseco's up there. And he backs away. 0-2 the count. Nobody out. We're in the 7th. 6-3 Oakland. There goes McGee. But the ball is fouled back to the screen. McGee will have to return. We're in the top of the 7th inning at Fenway Park. Oakland with 6 runs and 5 hits. Boston 3 runs and 7 hits with 1 error. This is John Miller with Joe Morgan. And with the ball game still to come tonight from the West Coast, the Giants and the Padres. Next Sunday, Joe and I will be at Wrigley Field in Chicago. We'll get a look at the post-Willie McGee St. Louis Cardinals under new manager Joe Torre at historic Wrigley Field. 2 strikes, the pitch. Too high. Harold Baines on deck. There's McGee's lead. And Gardner makes him go back. They say, Joe, we've got confirmation that was the first home run ever hit by Ricky Henderson at Fenway Park.
Well, maybe it shouldn't be that surprising to me, but it is. The fact that he only started hitting home runs really the last 3 or 4 years.
There goes McGee. And that ball is fouled away. He's hit. It's out of play. Pena gave chase. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ricky has hit 10 home runs against Boston. He just had never hit one here. Ricky, who hit only 12 home runs last year, hit only 6 in 1988. He didn't have the one brief period where he hit considerable numbers of home runs, but in the mid-80s. Hit 28 in 86, 24 in 85. He has hit 162 Major League homers and just 1 at Fenway. We just saw it. He struck out Canseco. 3rd strikeout of the night for Jose Canseco.
Well, Gardner challenges Canseco with the high fastball, and he gets it inside. Up and in is most of your sluggers will always be vulnerable to this pitch, and that's up and it's inside. There's not a lot that you can do with it. If you swing at that pitch, you're going to be out most of the time. I still feel a little sympathy for Jose Canseco because he is a great talent, but he is having problems with his back. And it's really hurting him. It's causing him to swing a little differently than he normally does. And psychologically, it has to work on you when you go to the plate knowing that you're not 100%. And I talked to Merv Retman, the hitting coach, and he says that, Canseco is trying to fight through it, but it's just a tough thing to do, especially when you're a free swinger like he is.
Here's Baines, and he takes ball 1. Baines has popped to 3rd, and twice he has grounded to 2nd. 0 for 3. Got 1 out in the 7th. The run is in. Oakland ahead 6-1. Willie McGee, the runner at first base. Quintana holding him on the bag. It's a big hole. Open on that right side of the infield. McGee back. Well, you hate to see any of the great players struggle like that, particularly for physical reasons. There goes McGee. Pena with a poor throw.
Actually, the throw didn't make any difference. McGee had such a good jump, and he was accelerating so well that there was no chance for Pena to throw him out. Even if the throw would have been right on the corner of the bag, McGee would have beaten it. See, he's off and running. He has a pretty big motion as well. Gardner's motion takes a long time to deliver to the plate.
2-0 to Baines. Runner in scoring position now. 2-1. Well, one thing, you're talking about McGee hitting second instead of Lansford. Not only does McGee get on base all the time, .335 average in the National League, but Carney, with that hamstring that's bothering him, is not stealing bases these days, at least not very often.
Well, Carney also hits into a lot of double plays because he hits the top half of the ball most of the time. Carney's more of a line drive hitter, line drive ground ball hitter. He's not a guy that can stay out of a lot of double plays because he hits from the right side and he hits the ball basically up the middle. He either hits it up the middle towards second base or up the middle towards shortstop. And anytime you stay in the middle of the diamond with runners on base, you're going to hit into a lot of double plays. But he is a good hitter. So he basically can hit anywhere in the lineup. Any place they want to place him, he can handle that position.
Well, Pena and Gardner have talked it over. Lansford hitting 5th in the order tonight, right behind Harold Baines. He's on deck. McGee at second. A 2-ball, 1-strike count to Baines. Gardner delivers. 3-1. Now, in the past, Baines 4 hits in 9 at-bats against Gardner and also 5 walks. McGee, by the way, had 28 steals with the Cardinals this year. Again, 2 more here with Oakland so far. 3-1. 3-2.
Well, Gardner threw a 3-1 breaking ball there. Baines was sitting on the fastball. And he threw him a good breaking ball at 3-1.
Full count. He struck him out. He came back and got him with a high fastball.
Basically the same pitch he struck Canseco out with, a fastball middle of the plate in and up. And if you swing at that, you're going to make a lot of outs because you can't handle a good fastball when it's up and above the letters in the strike zone.
2 gone in the 7th inning. The batter, Carney Lansford. Carney started his career with the Angels, and he used to hit home runs. I mean, he hit 19 home runs, 18 home runs. They're about 20. Came to Boston, and he'd heard so much about being caught in the trap of trying to hit the ball over that wall in left field at Fenway. And he became enamored of just concentrating and hitting the ball back through the middle. When he won the batting championship in '81, he hit only 4 home runs. And been that kind of a line drive hitter most of the time ever since. Popped up. Brunansky takes it. So just the 1 run on the Ricky Henderson home run. 7th inning stretch time in Boston. 6-3, Oakland leading. Back at Fenway Park, it's the last of the 7th. Luis Rivera, the 9th place hitter, leads off for Boston against right-handed Gene Nelson. First ball swinging. Gallego, nice pickup. Throws him out. Rivera now 1 for 3. We're into the Oakland bullpen. Nelson relieving Sanderson. The starter went 5, gave up 3 runs and 6 hits. And that Oakland bullpen is busy again.
Again, all they're trying to do is to get to Eckersley. And next inning, they could bring him in if they had to, but he likes to save him for the 9th inning.
Here's Jody Reed, the leadoff man. He's walked, fouled out, and struck out. That's a called strike, 0-1. So, Gene, as you see now, Rick Honeycutt, the veteran left-hander, warming up out there. Gene Nelson, coming into this game in 62 2/3 innings, giving up only 45 hits. and only 12 walks. Tough to get on base against this guy. That's a called strike. 0-2. His worst month there, May. Almost went up to 2 in the month of May for his earned run average.
An earned run average for a reliever is a little different than an earned run average for a starter, because reliever comes in, he may pitch 1 inning, he may pitch 2 innings, he may only go through the batting order 1 time, and they don't get a chance to get a gauge on him, and he can throw as hard as he wants for those 2 innings.
Strike 3 called. Jody Reed didn't like the call. 2 down. And let's go now to Baseball Tonight and John Saunders.
Indians and the Rangers. Ruben Sierra at the plate. This in the 5th inning. Sends it out to center field. Alex Cole chases after it, but even with his speed, can't get that one. Pettis comes in. Doherty follows him as the Texas Rangers are rolling up some runs for Nolan Ryan. It's now 4-1 in the 6th. Back to John and Joe.
Thanks, John. We're in the last of the 7th here. The batter, Quintana, 2 down, nobody on.
And to finish my thought, as a starting pitcher faces the lineup 2 or maybe 3 times during a ball game, they get a chance to get a gauge on him. So it's tough for him to keep his earned run average down than it is a reliever who only faces 3 hitters at a time, or maybe 6 during a ball game. So they're kind of deceiving when you try to compare a reliever's earned run average to a starter's earned run average.
Quintana chased one, and Randolph throws him out. 2 shutout innings here by Nelson. We're heading into the 8th inning now. It is 6-3. Oakland ahead. We'll be back.
25.
ESPN Baseball Tonight from Fenway Park. John Miller, Joe Morgan. 6-3. Oakland leading here. We go to the 8th. Coming up right afterward, we'll take you to the West Coast, and the San Francisco Giants will meet the San Diego Padres. Giants went to Shea Stadium this weekend, and they get clobbered. 4 in a row the Mets won. Giants started the day 10.5 back of the Reds. I don't think anybody's ever gone to Labor Day down by that many and come back and won.
10.5's a lot with 30 games left.
Check swing fouled by McGuire into the crowd in a hurry.
Actually, after today's game, the Reds only have 29 left.
Dodgers play tonight at home against Houston. If they can win, they'll be 5.5 back of the Reds. McGuire looks at a called strike 2. 6-3 Oakland. People in Boston were very excited about this series with the Red Sox on a 10-game winning streak. Big lead. The world champion A's. But Oakland came right out and scored 5 runs in the first. There's a ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tomorrow night, Dave Stewart and Roger Clemens. Stewart said he does get up for a game against the Red Sox, and particularly against Roger Clemens. That's too high. 2-2. I mean, up more than usual.
Well, I think that's normal. You know, a lot of guys get up for pitching a game against Dave Stewart. It's the same thing. The best pitchers you want to pitch the best against. And the hitters get up for those type of guys, too. You always get ready for Roger Clemens or Dave Stewart.
3-2 to McGuire. Clemens has won 8 in a row, 4 of them with shutouts. But he twice has been beaten by Dave Stewart this year of his 5 losses. Stewart trying to make it 4 consecutive 20-victory seasons. Not many can say that. With a beach ball out there. Clemens has beaten Stewart 1 time in his career. He's 1-5 against him. Ball 4 to McGuire. McGuire went in the hole 0-2, and he ends up getting a walk. That's 4 walks allowed by Gardner in 2 innings plus. And it brings up Jamie Quirk. 6-3 Oakland ahead. We're in the 8th inning.
6, Jimmy Quirk.
In Boston, they talk about Roger Clemens and being an MVP candidate. If Roger Clemens won the MVP, it would be the second time. He won it in 1986. The only other pitcher ever to win 2 MVP awards was Hal Newhouser back in the war years with the Detroit Tigers. Great left-hander. Burke bunts it. That'll get McGuire over. Jody Reed covering. Sacrifice from the pitcher to the second baseman. Runner at second with 1 out. And the batter will be Willie Randolph.
We don't see that too often. Bunting with a left-handed hitter to move runners along for 2 right-handed hitters. If that's exactly what Tony La Russa did here, he wants another insurance run, but normally you do not bunt a left-handed hitter in this situation.
We saw Ricky Henderson hit his first ever Fenway Park homer back in the 7th inning. Maybe La Russa just figures everybody's going to hit one now. That's ball 1. I'm still tossing that around in my mind. I saw a game here one night in 1980 where Fred Patek. Remember Fred Patek?
Little Freddie Patek?
Yeah.
I can call him Little.
He hit 3 home runs in the same game. And Ricky never hit one at all until tonight at Fenway. 1-1 strike. Well, maybe this is Ricky's year then. That's about the only thing he hasn't done in his career. 1-1 the count. And that's too high. Ball 2, 2-1. Gallego on deck. 6-3, Oakland ahead. Mike Shalin writing in the Boston Herald here yesterday. And Joe, you touched on this earlier about perceptions being different in regards to the Red Sox, even though they have a big lead, just as Oakland does and Cincinnati does. Here's a ball 3 inside. 3-1 to Randolph. Shannon was of the opinion in a column on Sunday in the Herald that Boston was going to have to win it all this year, that it wasn't good enough for them just to come close and win the division. If they didn't win the playoff and also the World Series, it was again going to be a disappointing year for the Red Sox. There is the great weight of history in this Boston team. That's ball 4, so Randolph walks. 5 walks by Gardner. 8 all told by Boston pitching. And here comes Bill Fisher up out of the dugout. They've got the bullpen going again. And there is Joe Hesketh, number 55, the left-hander. Oakland's bullpen is also busy.
Contrary to what, the Oakland A's would have you believe, and the things that they've made publicly known, that they traded for Harold Baines and Willie McGee to win their division. And I think the Oakland A's traded for those guys to win the World Championship. Once you've won the World Championship, just to win your division is not satisfaction enough anymore. So I think these 2 guys figure in helping them win the World Championship, not so much their division. Because I feel that they could have won their division with what they had. The players they had there, they could have hung on. But they were trying to win the World Championship, which is what you should try to do. So I think those trades were made to help them win the World Championship rather than just to win their division.
Harold Baines, for one, has had pretty good success against Roger Clemens over the years. Here's Mike Gallego. 2 on, 1 out. 2 more walks by Gardner in the inning. 6-3 Oakland. Ball 1. Gardner has thrown 56 pitches, and 33 of them have missed the strike zone. He's all over the place.
I would have bet that he was just totally wild as far as how many pitches he's thrown, how many have been in the strike zone. He's not even coming close on occasion.
Gallego hit by the pitch, and Barry Weinberg, the trainer, will immediately come out. He's become a very important man in this ball club, Mike Gallego.
Well, they don't have that many middle infielders left. Walt Weiss, of course, their number 1 shortstop, is on the disabled list. He's due to come off Friday. And there comes Joe Morgan, so that'll be all for Wes Gardner. But it's a fastball. You see Tony Pena set up outside, and it comes way in, right on the left elbow. Gallego can't get out of the way. He actually freezes a little bit right there, and the ball gets him on the left elbow.
And Weinberg administering to him. Tony La Russa out there. There's Joe Morgan with Wes Gardner, who is history in this one. Joe Hesketh is coming in, and he'll be trying to keep the Red Sox alive in this one. Bases loaded, 1 out. And Ricky Henderson will come up when we come back. There's the new pitcher here at Fenway Park. Oakland leading Boston 6-3. 3 men on, 1 man out, and there's Joe Hesketh.
Well, Hesketh, as you mentioned, started with Montreal. He has good stuff. He has a slider, changeup, and a pretty good fastball. He had a few arm problems the last few years, but he seems to be throwing well again. Although you take a look at his statistics, 4 base on balls in those 10 innings.
That's quite a few.
Yeah, and also he struck out 10, which shows that he's a strikeout pitcher.
Today the Mets beat the Cardinals 9-3. Pittsburgh beat Philadelphia 4-1. And Pittsburgh remains a half game back of the Mets. They'll be facing off Wednesday night, and you'll be able to see that ball game right here on ESPN. Gary Thorne and Norm Hitzges will bring you the action. The Mets and the Pirates right in the thick of it there. Ricky Henderson, well, he can afford to be smiling. Singled and scored. He's walked and stolen a base. He's hit a home run. He's doing the things that Ricky does just as a matter of being Ricky. 3 men on, 1 man out. They bring in the left-hander to face the right-handed hitting Ricky Henderson here. Let's get the 4th pitcher of the game. Strike 1. The base runners, as Mark McGwire, he led off the inning with a walk. He's at third base. Willie Randolph, who drew a 1-out walk, is at second. And Mike Gallego, who was hit by a pitch, is at first. Boston's infield, double play depth. Ricky Henderson now batting .328 atop the American League. That'll go foul off to the right and off to the roof, onto the rooftop. 0-2 to Ricky. And again, his first home run in Fenway Park ever coming tonight. Ricky, who is from Oakland, broke in with the Athletics 1979. You can see there he's had pretty good success with 2 strikes even.
Because he knows the strike zone so well, he really doesn't mind hitting with 2 strikes. He doesn't chase a lot of pitches. Because it's 0-2, Hesketh will still have to throw him a strike if he wants to get Ricky Henderson out.
Ricky has walked 80 times this year.
A lot of hitters, when they get 2 strikes, you don't have to throw another strike to them. They'll chase one eventually. But Ricky Henderson is not like that. He will make you throw strikes. And that's what makes him so tough as a hitter. Because he and Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs is very similar. You get 0-2, it doesn't really matter to them. You still have to throw him another strike.
6-3. That Oakland bullpen, a very deep bullpen, and of course with the great closer Eckersley around for the finish. The Red Sox chances are already not too great, down by 3 in the 8th inning. Ricky could just about wrap it up here if he could get a base hit. So Hesketh trying to keep the Red Sox from being completely annihilated. The pitch in the dirt, and that will get a run home. Coming in to score is McGwire. Randolph to third, Gallego to second. That is the 3rd wild pitch thrown by Boston pitching tonight. You see Randolph to third and Gallego over to second. 7-3 Oakland.
You know, you try to get a hitter to chase something with 2 strikes. But a guy like Ricky Henderson, as I mentioned, is not going to chase anything with 2 strikes. Plus, you have a runner at third base. You cannot afford to make a wild pitch. You cannot afford to bounce the ball trying to make a great pitch. You have to give in a little bit. I know you want to make a great pitch, but you can't afford to do that all the time. So It's like at the double play situation. You have to give up some range in order to be close to second base to make the double play. When you have the bases loaded, you have to raise your sights just a little bit. You can't continue to throw the ball down low and let a ball bounce in the dirt and give up a run.
Also, no chance now for the ground ball double play. Boston brings the infield in. 7-3, Oakland. And he got Ricky to chase a bad one.
Yes, he did.
Bailey will have to throw him out, and he does. This is the second game of our Labor Day triple header. Still coming. We've got the Giants and the Padres. Stay tuned for that right after this ball game. Chris Berman and Tommy Hutton out there in San Diego to bring the Giants and the Pods. The batter will be Willie McGee. He'll bat right-handed now. He's had an infield hit and struck out, grounded out. He has walked and stolen a base. Boston's infield drops back to normal depth now for McGee. That's a base hit for Willie McGee. Coming in to score is Randolph. Here comes Gallego. Here comes Brunansky's throw cut off. They've got McGee hung up. 2 runs have scored. Quintana. And the tag made by Jody Reed. So 3 runs in. The last 2 of them driven in by Willie McGee. And now it is Oakland 9, Boston 3.
John, what's the storyline?
Oh, Joe. The Budweiser storyline. Oakland 9-3. Dana Kicker knocked out early. Steinbach, a 3-run homer in the first. And then Ricky Henderson, his first ever Fenway Park homer. And all kinds of subplots, side stories. We could make a mini-series out of this one. Oakland leading 9-3. And a new pitcher has come on at venerable Fenway Park for the Athletics. Get back into that Oakland bullpen, and there is Rick Honeycutt.
Well, Honeycutt throws a good sinker and a slider, and he has done a great job for the Oakland A's over the last few years. And he, like Larry Anderson, who was acquired by Boston, is a very good setup man, and he's very tough on left-handed hitters.
It'll be Wade Boggs, Ellis Burks, and Mike Greenwell coming up, but a lot of the tension is lost here now with Oakland's lead at 6 runs.
Well, one of the things that makes Oakland so tough is just what we've seen tonight. Boston got back in the game, got close. They brought in Gene Nelson for a couple innings. Now they're bringing in Rick Honeycutt, and they still have their ace, Dennis Eckersley, in the bullpen.
Two of the 3 hitters due up in this inning are left-handers, Boggs and Greenwell. Burks in the middle. In Chicago, the White Sox, who are chasing the Oakland Athletics, are ahead 4-2 in the 8th inning over Kansas City. And Bobby Thigpen, we understand, is going to be going into that ball game trying for his 47th save, which, if he gets it, will establish the Major League record. He shares the record now with Dave Righetti of the Yankees at 46. And we may take you there for that to Comiskey Park. Here, 9-3, Oakland ahead, last of the 8. Wade Boggs is 0 for 3 in this one. That's a ball. 3-1. So Oakland relievers are very stingy. Honeycutt, 53 innings, 39 hits allowed. Man we saw before, Gene Nelson, now 64 and 2/3 innings, only 46. They don't walk many either, these guys, although he walks Boggs here. Didn't want to do. Only the second walk allowed by Oakland pitching in this game. It's a Scott Sanderson game right now. He went 5. But you can go 5 with this Oakland club and still get a victory with this bullpen.
Well, as they used to say in the old days, 5 and fly. He got his 5 in, and he's going to let the bullpen fly it home the rest of the way. And they have a good group of pitchers coming out of the Oakland bullpen.
Ellis Burks, they've calmed him down a bit. He's been hitting in Cleveland and then against the Yankees, but although he has a hit tonight, no RBIs. Ball one. 1 ball and no strikes. Burke's 1 for 3 in this game. He hit a double in the 4th. Boston has 7 hits. Boston is out hit the Athletics 7-6, but they're trailing by 6 runs. Foul ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now this Oakland bullpen, LaRussa, the average Oakland game features just about 3 innings from the bullpen. And a guy like Dave Stewart, for instance, Stewart averages well over 7 innings to start. Double play ball. Lansford to Randolph, 1 to first, 2. Double play. 5 to 4 to 3.
One of the most underrated parts of the Oakland ball club is their defense. They can make all the plays and they make all the routine plays. And they do not give up many unearned runs. They make you earn everything you get.
Now here is Greenwell. He has singled home a run. He's flying to shallow left and he is grounded to first. 1 for 3. Foul ball. Greenwell hitting .291. Oakland has won 5 and lost 4 against Boston coming into this game. Now tomorrow night, let's say this score holds up. Oakland wins big like this, ending Boston's 10-game winning streak. It's a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now tomorrow night you've got Stewart and Clemens, and Stewart beats Clemens.
Well, he has beaten him.
Yeah, I mean, he usually does.
Yeah, but that's in the past.
But let's say he does again tomorrow in light of this ball game. Now you look at October and possible implications. Hey, the Red Sox are the hottest team around, never playing better. And then Oakland comes into their ballpark where they almost never lose, and nothing goes right for them.
Well, I agree that it wouldn't look good, but once the postseason starts, you forget about everything that's happened before you got there. And I guarantee you tomorrow, going into tomorrow's ball game, the Oakland A's aren't sure they're going to be able to beat Roger Clemens. And I guarantee you Roger Clemens is not going into tomorrow night's ball game saying, well, I always lose to Dave Stewart. And Dave Stewart's not going in saying, I always beat Roger Clemens. It's going to be a tough matchup for both teams.
2-2 to Greenwell. Well, when Stewart beat Clemens here the first time around back in late April, 1-0, there was one play in particular, a big one. The ball ended up being a ground rule double into the bullpen in right center. That otherwise, if it had stayed in the field, would have scored a run for Boston. That one is headed for the wall and will hit the base of the wall. The carom played by McGee, but a double for Greenwell. McGee throws it right into Honeycutt at the mound. Let's play ball, he says. He was trying to throw to second, but it ended up on the mound.
I told you earlier, the ball still will carry here in Boston, even with the wind blowing in. And Greenwell hits the ball in the left center field, hits it hard, and McGee knows he can't get to it, so he plays it off the wall, tries to hold Greenwell to a single. But the ball was hit so far, 379 feet from home plate. By the time he gets it back in, Greenwell's at second base.
And Oakland's got Reggie Harris warming up in the bullpen, and we're going to see him with Brunansky coming up. There's Reggie, who was drafted out of the Boston farm system. 9-3
on the mound in relief, going for his major league record 47th save. Kevin Seitzer, pinch hitting for Bill Pecota, takes a strike. Steve Lyons into the game defensively for the White Sox at first base, replacing rookie Frank Thomas. Seitzer fights it off foul, and the count is 0-2. Kansas City with a 2-0 lead in the first inning. But the White Sox tied it with 2 runs in the 4th. Carlton Fisk untied it with his 15th home run of the year, an upper deck shot in the bottom of the 6th inning. And in the bottom of the 8th inning, a 2-out base hit by Robin Ventura added an insurance run to make it 4-2 Chicago here in the 9th. a slider that just misses, and it's 1-2.
Thigpen has a delivery that's really hard to pick up the ball. Also, his elbows and arms and everything flies at you, and you see all of this stuff, and then the ball is kind of like it comes out delayed.
Ground ball up the middle. Ozzie Guillen cuts it off. One out in the ninth. Brian McRae will be the hitter. The son of Hal has been up less than a month, and tonight he's 1 for 3 plus a sacrifice. And then George Brett to follow. Ball 1. And Bob, you were talking earlier about pitchers not coming after hitters. You don't have to worry about that with Bobby Thigpen. Ball 2.
You know, there's a lot of reasons, I guess, why pitchers don't, but the biggest one is I think it's a lack of confidence that you have good enough stuff where you can go just right at the hitter and get him out. That you have to trick him or make him hit a bad pitch, and that's a fallacy, I think, most of the time.
2 balls, 1 strike, 1 out, nobody on in the ninth. And Thigpen trying to set the new record. Just outside, 3-1.
Thigpen wasn't too sure about that call there. He wanted to take the umpire back in the back room and talk to him a little bit.
Three and 2. You never had those feelings, though, did you?
Oh, only once or twice, yeah. It doesn't do you any good to get angry with the umpire.
No, but you would glare in on occasion.
Oh, yeah, I'd have a few choice words once in a while.
Well hit, and Lyons fell down, or he might have had a play. Scott Fletcher, the second baseman, couldn't come up with it, and it is a base hit to right field. So George Brett will come to the plate in the 9th inning, representing the tying run.
Take a look at this. The ball's inside. He really doesn't hit it well, but he gets enough of it. It's right in the hole. Fletcher tried to get it, but even if he comes up with it, he won't be able to throw anybody out.
Would have been a tough play even if Lyons had not lost his footing and been able to stop it, as McRae runs very well, and it would have been a race between he and Thigpen. So here's George Brett on fire, second in the American League batting race to Rickey Henderson. Tonight he has a double in 3 at-bats plus an intentional walk. Grounded up the middle. Right there is Fletcher to Guillen to Lyons. The White Sox battling behind the Oakland Athletics in the American League West, but Bobby Thigpen, with a hug from Carlton Fisk and his wife and child looking on, sets a new major league record for saves in a single season of 47, and he's got a lot of season left. We send those of you watching Boston and Oakland back to John Saunders.
Thanks a lot, Stephen, Bob, and what another great moment here in baseball history. Bobby Thigpen, his 47th save of the year. That a major league record, surpassing Dave Righetti. Righetti with 46 back in 1986. Another note, it took Dave Righetti 74 games to get those 46 saves. This is game number 65 for Bobby Thigpen. He still has a month left in the season. He also had 13 saves in August. That tied a major league record, but 47 is the major league record, and he'll certainly have a chance to go over the 50 mark. Dennis Eckersley, you see him on the list. He could surpass 47 as well. Right now, however, let's get back to Boston in Fenway Park and rejoin John Miller and Joe Morgan. It's 9-5 in the ninth.
Thanks, John. And since we were last with you, the score has changed. Right after we went to Comiskey Park, Tom Brunansky hit a 2-run homer against the reliever, Reggie Harris.
Well, Reggie Harris threw him a high fastball, and he got most of it and hit it up on the screen in left field. High fastball, and that's all Bruno was trying to do. Pull it, and he did, and he got the Red Sox 2 runs closer.
Now we're in the 9th inning, and Joe Hesketh, the left-hander, the 4th pitcher of the game for Boston, facing Jose Canseco, who is 0 for 4. Struck out 3 times in this one. 9-5, Oakland ahead, and we're in the 9th inning.
And congratulations to Bobby Thigpen for setting the Major League record for saves.
And a changeup, 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, Thigpen, we kind of had a feeling he was going to do it. He had a month left in the season to get that 1 save, but nonetheless, the save rule's been in effect for a while, and nobody's ever had that many before. That's the ball, 2-1.
There have been a lot of changes in the save rule over the years, though.
At one time,
all you had to do was get the last out.
Yeah. Well, there are a few more things necessary for you to get credit for a save. Backhanded by Rivera. And Canseco is 0 for 5. Oakland has scored 9 runs without him, however. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Now we're going to get Lance Blankenship, a pinch hitter for Harold Baines, a right-handed batter. Baines went 0 for 4 tonight. The White Sox have won their game, but it looks like they're going to stay 4.5, or rather 6.5 back of Oakland. Oakland with a big lead here. And Jody Reed throws out Blankenship, 2 down. Boston will have Pena, Rivera, and Reed due up. The numbers 8, 9, and 1 hitters in their batting order. And then after the ball game here is over, we'll take you to the West Coast to Chris Berman and Tommy Hutton, the Giants and the Padres having at it out there. Here is Carney Lansford, 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. Ball 1 from Hesketh. 5 first-inning runs for Oakland. And Boston got 1 in the first, 2 in the 4th to get close, but Oakland has regained control in the late innings. Hesketh will get Lansford, and he gets Oakland in order here in the 9th. Last chance for the Athletics. We go to the last for Boston, rather. Athletics 9, Red Sox 5. Last chance for the Boston Red Sox. It's the last of the 9th inning. Tony Pena will lead it off against Reggie Harris. And Danny Heap has come out in the on-deck circle for the Red Sox. Pena is 1 for 3. Grounded out, singled, and lined out to short. Reggie Harris, he was a product of the Boston farm system. Oakland drafted him as an unprotected minor leaguer at the winter meetings. Got a very good arm, Joe.
He's got an excellent arm, and everyone that I've talked to is surprised that Boston let him get away.
And Red Sox front office has been roasted a few times here by the Red Sox fans and the media for that. 2-0 to Reggie Harris. Reggie has been in only 10 games for the A's. That is a strike. It's one of those deals where guy's got to be with the club all season long, or he must be offered back to his original ball club. But Harris spent a great deal of time on the disabled list. 2-1. That's out of play by Pena. 2-2. The Red Sox felt that it didn't add up somehow, because when you're on the disabled list, you're on the roster.
Correct.
But they were able to use a more experienced pitcher in his place for all that time. The Red Sox said, wait a minute.
Well, if Oakland is smart enough to know to use the rules to their benefit, then that's the way it goes. The rules are there. As long as you play by them, it doesn't say that they can't benefit you sometimes.
3-2 now to Pena. Barnhart, Clemens, and Stewart. And we'll be here 7:30. Join Sean McDonough and Ray Knight. They'll provide the coverage. And we'll also be going to San Diego right after this ball game. And Pena draws the walk. He just wanted to get on somehow, and he did. And now Danny Heath will pinch hit for Rivera. By the way, the score out there in San Diego is 1-0 San Francisco, leading the Padres. That game is in the second inning. Here comes Dave Duncan, the pitching coach for Oakland, out to the mound. The Oakland bullpen is busy, and guess who is warming up out there?